to the channel where the dough don't rise. Broken Baker's here with his sarcastic eyes. From Danish pastries to courtroom crime, where the spelling's a mess, but the humor's prime. Pro se defendants taking the stand, with wine moms laughing, glass in hand. Mods like Marissa and Valhalla too. Irish and whiskey keep the chat in view. It's trial tribulations with a sprinkle of wit. Chats popping off, yeah, they never quit. Jamie's got the deals and the beauty hacks. Dollar store glam keeping us on track. So come for the crime, stay for the snark. Broken Baker's baking up a legal spark. Mo hops in with spicy takes. Jemima's got the docs, Farrell brings the shakes. Brandon keeps it wild, Iron Rabbit keeps it chill. Together they're the dream team, streaming the thrill. With courtroom chaos and dry witty flair, we're roasting defendants, cause life's not fair. Grab your wine, your snacks, and settle in. Chat's the real star, let the fun begin. It's trials, tribulations with a sprinkle of wit. Chats popping off, yeah, they never quit. Jamie's got the deals and the beauty hacks. Dollar store glam keeping us on track. So come for the crime, stay for the snark. Broken Baker's baking up a legal spark. Broken Baker streaming, so don't you miss. Where courtrooms and sarcasm meet Danish bliss. Mods and chat, we're keeping it clever. True crime and dry humor, now and forever.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whoever you are, what if any you might be, and welcome to this response kinda lawsuit from Justin Baldoni and his side of the complaint we had from Blake Lively. We read Blake Lively's complaints, which were backed up by some email and text bits. Then we had the lawsuit from the PR firm claiming that Baldoni in cooperation with Abel and Nathan were in breach of contract, and that they had planned hitting Lively with bad PR. As I've stated all the way through, this is one side of the argument, and now we have the other side of the argument. Not in response to directly Lively or what's her name? I should know this. She has such a weird name. Blah 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 blah. Well, the PR firm. I can't remember the name of it right now. But this lawsuit is against the New York Times. So it's not against Lively. It's not against the PR firm who sued Justin Baldoni. This is against the New York Times, who on New Year's Day, Christmas Eve, wrote what they claim is a hit piece, which have been substantiated by manipulated edits to the conversations. Again, remember, these are two sides giving their version of the story. Which side to believe, that's up to you. I am just here to read the stuff, talk about what we see in it, and I don't really care until it goes to trial. Hey, Fedorowski and Skybell. Brandon for Mod of the Year 2025. 2024 is in the rearview mirror, folks. He had to have invented the Baldo is... Nope. Out and about with Diane. Hey, and Katie. Schönen Nachmittag, Helena T. Hope you are doing well in the new year. Hope we get some interesting cases this year. There's a few lined up that could be interesting. I, for one, I'm not looking forward to Karen Reed 2.0 because I think it'll be even worse than Karen Reed 1.0. But hopefully, and I still hope that at some point they're gonna drop the charges. But Hank the Tank is he's getting all kinds of experts in, and apparently they know exactly what happened. Plevin has told me that I'm an idiot because the Karen Reed side hasn't leaked what was in the chip off, and it's very damning. He hasn't shown any proof of it, but it's very damning. Just believe Plevin. And yeah. Hey, Tash. And Carol Sue. And Danny T. And it's me, Jody. Josie. Well, Josie has taken sides. That's whatever you want to believe. It's fine. I don't know any of these people. Never watched the movie. I hardly know Blake Lively for anything other than being married to Ryan Reynolds. So I don't really give a shit. Hey, Renee and Marissa and Megan Florida. Oh, buttface. Hey, Rachel Ray. The sock snatcher. You live in my laundry machine because I'm always missing socks. Hey, Jeanette. And Lolita smiles. Marissa is the one who made the new intro. Love the new song. Dixie isn't a fan. Good afternoon. Good morning to you, Krista. Love the song. A lot of positives, Marissa. You hit the right one. I might go in and edit it so instead of having the white border around it, it'll just be full picture, but that means I had to work. I don't do that. Hey, Kiki. I'm more of an on screen talent. Hey, Carly. Muffins. Do, 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 do. You know, if I bought one of those in a year, I would have earned and wasted a lot of money and have a 27-year-old living in my house. I don't want that. Yeah, Brandon is he's starting early. Reminder, it's Thursday, not Monday. Yeah, that's I hate these when special days falls on weekdays. It's so annoying. Hey, Irish and Vanilla. Sui and Shore Life. Wash Bar. Hello. Kim. Hello. And Christy G. And Brian. Hello, Brian. It was I was out shopping earlier and then at the gym. It was 1 degree. So really cold. Thought this was a trust tree where we could share our honest opinion, even if you go to a Danish prison for reading them. I put it on screen because, as always, I am not smart enough to. You lull me into this sense of, oh, Brandon's been nice the last couple of days, and then all of a sudden, no, but they should. Hope life is treating me well. It's one day full. Hey, AJ. Oh. Hey, Eddie. I never watched Gossip Girls. No, I never watched Gossip Girls. I never watched Mean Girls. I never watched the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Fedorowski keeps saying to me, "You know me. I know movies. You should watch these movies. They are great." One of his favorite movies, he's told me it, and this is I know I'm breaking trust here, but the Britney Spears one. I don't know what name it is, but Fedorowski is a big fan of Britney Spears as an actor. Hey, Iron Rabbit. June Silovskas. That sounds Lithuanian. And she said lost on Bourbon Street. Stay safe on Bourbon Street. She was amazing in The Shallows. Hard to do a movie when you're the only actor. Yeah, and that's the one with the shark, right? Didn't watch it. I'm not a fan of sharks. I had a love-hate relationship with Blake on Gossip Girl. Oh. Who in here got a random email about a gift membership and decided to watch the baker cook? Yeah. And by the way, thank you all for yesterday. As Brandon suggested, I made a special plaque because yesterday was a very generous day. So this is my New Year's Eve Day 2025 plaque with all the super chats in it. Hello, Ariel. And Classic Overthinker. Crossroad. Yeah, that's Fedorowski's favorite movie. Blablazy. Suespante. Really need to watch Barbed Wire. Don't call me Babe Wire. Watched it. Great movie. Well, I remember 2 parts of it. Oh, you got a. Oh, you fancy. We know famous people now. Savages was the only good movie Blake Lively has done. In my younger years, I did watch Gossip Girl. I don't know Savages. But let's get into it. And a funny thing that Jess pointed out, this complaint is being held in California, Los Angeles, the state that has some of the worst anti-slap laws in the country. This is one of the things that made the JDAH case happen, that they didn't try it in California, that they sued them, where was it in Virginia, wherever it was, because they have laxer anti-slap law. This is going to be, if this goes through, that's going to be quite a feat, because California have some of the strongest anti-slap laws. So it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works, because suing a New York Times newspaper in Los Angeles, you really have to have your ducks in a row for this to reach a courtroom. Hey, Greedy. But this is complaint for damages for libel, false light invasion of privacy, promissory fraud, and breach of implied in fact contract, and a demand for a jury trial. These are all the complainants. At 9:46 on Friday, December 20th, New York Times reporter Megan Twohy requested plaintiff's response to an imminent 4,000-word bombshell story concerning the alleged orchestration of a smear campaign targeted Blake Lively, purportedly in response to Lively's disclosure of concerns about the working environment on the set of It Ends With Us. The production company Wayfarer, its principals, Baldoni and Heath, and its public relations representatives, Nathan and Abel, were asked to provide on-the-record comments and to notify the Times of any inaccuracies by noon the next day, on December 21st. A mere 14-hour overnight plaintiff's representative promptly denied Lively's accusation as reported by the Times and criticized both Lively and the Times' reliance on cherry-picked and altered communications, stripped of necessary context and deliberately spiced to mislead. If you watched my first reading of the Lively complaints, that was one of the things I pointed out. You don't know in which context any of this has been made. Because one of the things we see in a lot of, especially Twitter dramas, is someone will go back and 20 responses down in a thread will find something they will cut out, which is a reply to the last 5 above them, which gives a totally different context than the first word. You see it a lot with politicians, especially where they use it against them in that way. Jeanette, he might have gone a little bit Deadpool on his ears, But again, movie stars aren't fighters, they just play them on screen. What channel is a Mo raid from? Oh, we had a Mo raid. Thank you, Mo. That is from the wonderful Mo in the Deep End, the funniest person on the YouTubes. She is absolutely wonderful. She joins me a lot of Saturdays for my Stabio Day, and she is the best. No more, no less than the best. Maybe a mod can throw her link in here so people, if they don't know Mo, they could go check her out later because she is great. Despite its claims to have reviewed these along with other documents, the Times relied almost entirely on Lively's unverified and self-serving narrative, lifting it nearly verbatim while disregarding an abundance of evidence that contradict her claims and exposes her true motives. But the Times did not care. Given the breadth of the article and the coordinated drop, it is readily apparent that the Times had been quietly working in concert with Lively's team for weeks or months. The Times participated actively in the legal maneuvering at the heart of Lively's strategy. Notably, Lively chose not to file a lawsuit against Baldoni, Wayfair, or any of the plaintiffs, a choice that spared her from the scrutiny of the discovery process, including answering questions under oath and producing her communication. This decision was no accident. First, her administrative complaint is rife with blatant falsehoods and egregious misrepresentations that would have subjected her to dismissal if not sanctions. Second, pursuing formal legal action would have derailed her true objective, an orchestrated campaign to rehabilitate her public image. If you haven't been following it, all of this stems from it stops with us or it ends with us. A movie that was a commercial success, but kind of turned bad PR wise because a lot of rumors about bad chemistry between Lively and Baldoni on set that was met with claims that she was not sensitive to DV victims, even though she claims they had a strategy where they were not to focus on the DV victimhood in the movie, but keep it as a positive story. Again, it's a lot of he said, she said. Happy New Year to you as well. Have a great day, Arlene. You missed the other one. Well, there's two other videos. There's Big Lively's, and then there's the PR consultants. Yes, Mo in the Deep End. The most funny girl you can find on the internet. Maybe the most funny person on the internet. Instead, Lively filed a request for a right to sue letter with the California Civil Rights Department, a procedural formality that does not require pleadings, remain confidential unless leaked, as it was here, and crucially, does not subject the complainant to discovery, which such a letter can precede a lawsuit. It is clear that litigation was never her ultimate goal. Her real intention was to weaponize the appearance of legitimacy conferred by a number of legal documents to launch salacious, headlining grabbing allegations and reshape her public persona at the expense of the plaintiff. Lively found willing allies at the New York Times, which uncritically embraced her CRD complaint as fact and disregarded the plaintiff's emphatic objections. Without even waiting for the response deadline of noon on December 21st, the Times rushed to publish its inflammatory article, "We Can Bury Anyone," inside a Hollywood smear machine at 10:11 a.m., nearly 2 hours early. This brazen disregard for journalistic integrity and fairness resulted in an article rife with inaccuracies, misrepresentations, and omissions. In an era where public trust in media has reached a historic low and legacy outlets are increasingly criticized as biased and agenda driven, the Times has chosen to double down on sensationalism and oversimplified narratives, rather than striving for accuracy and balance. It has prioritized hollow signaling over substantive reporting, further eroding its credibility and excerpt, exactly. I can't say that word. Acceptable, that word. Jamie, the very mistrust it claims to combat. The article's central thesis, encapsulated in a defamatory headline designed to immediately mislead the reader, is that plaintiff orchestrated a retaliatory public relations campaign against Lively for speaking out about sexual harassment, a premise that is categorically false and easily disproven. If the Times truly reviewed the thousands of private communication it claimed to have obtained, its reporters would have seen incontrovertible evidence that it was Lively, not plaintiff, who engaged in a calculated smear campaign. The complete communications demonstrated beyond question that plaintiffs have no intention of destroying or burying Lively through aggressive tactics. On the contrary, Baldoni consistently expressed his desire to avoid harming Lively and protect the film, but also recognizes the legitimate need for public relations protection in light of Lively's false and damaging claims. Who is Blake Lively? She is what would you say, kind of famous Hollywood actor, married to Ryan Reynolds, who is right now probably one of the highest earner in Hollywood. Exacerbating. Thank you, Sue. Exacerbation. Thank you. Hey, 80s music man. Yeah, that's a word I can. And then we have some clips here from Melissa Nathan. Good morning. Sharing with you a perfect example of why we don't use bots. I wouldn't even worry to think they've hired a team as A, nothing to find, B, they hired an awful team which I sent to our guy to track and pull so we have evidence of it. This below should answer everyone's question on what a bot team looks like when every single comment suddenly skews in her favor in a nonsensical way. At least sprinkle them in. She needs to fire her bot team. How can we say somehow that we are not doing any of this? It looks like we are trying to take her down. That's Justin. Melissa, it doesn't. They are doing all of this themselves, and it's really obvious. This is bots. The first word is Zionist. I can't see the rest of it. Justin, okay, please monitor. Things I'm more worried about is that we are planting these stories, which is not true, obviously. Jen Abel, old number, chiming in here. The people saying that there are bots and this is a PR play on our side is a minority voices compared to the thousands and thousands who are calling it what it is and reacting to Blake's own actions and interviews. We never want the action of the minority to dictate what we do on our end. We have to always look at the big picture, which is still enormously on on your side. But I do see a want and need from the fans to move on. People are now commenting that they are bored with the many articles still coming out about this drama. When we move on, they do too. So we need to find ways to keep elevating not just the DV reaction, but also the other things in your life, like family, being back home, and Wayfarer. That's not tone deaf, in my opinion, but sends the message that you are focusing on what really matters, and that's what will help with the Blake narrative too, my point of view. Tag team. That's her. That's the PR firm. It ends with us. Sony chief praises Blake Lively for advancing the conversation around DV. HollywoodReporter.com. They messaged me 5 minutes before this went up. Tag team exclusive. Blake Lively was really impatient on it ends with us, said as drama rumors swirl. Tension was so obvious. So glad Blake was praised. Let her get a win. It would be nice to have a Sony executive praise Justin. Remove Jen Abel, do not use from the conversation. Added Jen Abel new number to the conversation. Hey, Pokemomo. I keep thinking they're talking about Wayfair. They got what I need. Yeah, that's that company everyone said. John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart is your favorite actors. I like John Wayne. Jimmy Stewart is a little too for me. The article is predicated on Lively's CRD complaint, which referenced text exchange between Nathan and Abel as purported evidence that Nathan planted a negative story in the Daily Mail titled, "Is Blake Lively Said to Be Cancelled?" Lively portrayal as is categorically false, misleading, and devoid of factual basis, yet knowingly endorsed by the Times, which claimed to have reviewed thousands of pages of text messages and emails. The smear campaign hinges on an August 16th text exchange in which Nathan allegedly shared a link to this article with Abel. The text exchange shows Abel responding, "Wow," followed by, "You really outdid yourself with this one," to which Nathan allegedly replied, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." These messages constituted the entirety of the purported evidence underlying the allegation of a smear campaign orchestrated on the behalf of Baldoni. Wow, you really outdid yourself. We read those before. And then not included. Heading to the airport, and there's a drive through the jungle that there's going to be no reception for around 24 hours. Joke. 45 minutes. Sorry. What does this mean? There is a drive through the jungle. I don't know, but yeah, I don't. Maybe it's just me, but that could seem like that was a racial thing. I'm sorry, you being offline for 45 minutes was not included in the scope. Unacceptable. These were not included, but they don't really say anything against the other ones. The Times, however, was aware that these text messages was unscrupulously altered and selectively edited, enabling both Lively and her team and the Times to propagate the false smear campaign narrative designed to destroy plaintiffs specifically. In the immediate preceding text exchange on August 16, Nathan forwarded a screenshot of a message from a reporter informing her for the first time of the Daily Mail article. In response, Nathan wrote, "Damn, this is not fair because it's also not me," followed by, "Everything now looks like it's me," conclusively refuting her involvement in the creation or dissemination of this article. This mail is going nuts. Damn, this is unfair because it's also not me. Everything now looks like it's me. Maybe not to you. No, it totally does look like his side. Cool, thanks. This was not there, but this was there. That doesn't make sense. Further evidence of the Times' complicity arises from the apparent endorsement of the criminal alteration of these text messages by Lively. After Nathan forwarded a screenshot of the article link, Abel responded with, "You really outdid yourself with this piece," adding a upside down emoji to indicate the sarcastic nature of her message. The upside down emoji is commonly used to convey irony, sarcasm, joking, or a sense of goofiness or silliness. Is it? I never use it. I don't understand. This is the problem with the text. People can't hear what you mean, and people can use whatever they claim to be the meaning of what you read. Concrete jungle. Yeah, I have concrete jungles as well. So reception's just fine there. It's just to me, it just sounded a little But maybe I'm just hypersensitive about what could have racial undertones. I'm being called racist so often. In her CRD complaint, Lively deliberately exclude not only the preceding screenshots of the text exchange disproving Nathan's involvement in the story, but also the upside down emoji, which fundamentally alter the sarcastic tone of Abel's message and misleads the reader into interpreting her response as serious. The omitted context is critical as it demonstrates that each subsequent message in the exchange was similarly, fuck, I can't do it today, intended as sarcasm, including Nathan's statement, "That's why you hired me, right? I am the best." Hmm, maybe. Further review of the text message exchange also excludes from both the Lively CRD complaint and the Times article unequivocally shows that Abel and Nathan was engaging in a sarcastic and joking manner, as evidenced by the use of the haha tapback reaction. When read in full, the exchange revealed Nathan and Abel engaging in facetious juvenile banter, not conspiring against Lively. The Times relied on Lively's CRD complaint and based solely on this exchange intentionally duped readers into believing that Baldoni orchestrated a smear campaign, purportedly using Nathan and Abel as his accomplice. Indeed, the Times, like Lively, misrepresented these communications to support its salacious and unfounded smear campaign narrative. This calculated distortion underscores the article's lack of credibility and its reliance on sensationalism over substantive truth. Well, I might just be a little. That's what I took it for, especially when you're going to an airport where sometimes. Well, I'm not going to say anymore. None of this seems like it was relevant to me. Um, I don't know. Can you save all of this with an upside down emoji? Because read in full, to me, it still seems it could just be her way of. How many have you? Do you have any of those friends who have their? Oh, I always use this emoji to convey something. It's again, these are professional people who live off of texting. We read how bad their spelling was and sentence structure. I'm just saying, not taking sides, but everything will be read out in court and it'll always make you look like you're guilty. The interesting part about using emoticons is they are a huge part of how we communicate so to remove them does change context, in my opinion. That's correctly, but you also will have to go back and see how she uses. They would have to provide evidence that every time she's sarcastic, she uses that upside down emoji, and it's never used in any other context. If you want to rely solely on that to show sarcasm, normally on the twit, I put hashtag S when I'm sarcastic because, again, text doesn't convey sarcasm. Does this remind anyone of saying, "Who gives a hoot?" Yeah. So he's saying he did do the stuff, but it was funny. No, he's saying because as I read it, if we go back and read it, she seemed annoyed that she didn't do it, but she got, damn, this is unfair because it's also not me. So it's kind of like, to me, that could be read. And this is my interpretation. Don't eat me. I know everyone out there is saying she's the new and she's the devil. I'm just saying this could also be a problem solver that's hired in, that's mad that she wasn't the one who planted that story. That's she even Jen Abel even recognizes it totally does look like his side. So they recognize that the text clearly shows that it could be his side who were planting evidence. So again, yeah, and I was here. Cannot deny this has increased views of the movie. I didn't watch it. I don't have Netflix. It could also mean not to talk about the takedown plan. Yeah, because we have the other messages where they said you can't tell him everything we're going to do because we can't have it on paper. And again, well, I don't speak sarcasms. He's saying that they claim that their claims are false because they meant it in the opposite way of what New York Times is saying. Yeah, and again, this is the opening shots in a war. We don't know anything until this goes to trial. Just remember how many years was JD and AH going until he finally got her in a courtroom where people could see it. This can show up. He can have all the evidence and show she's just as bad. She can have all the evidence and show he's just as bad. We don't know. But the JDAH case should tell us never to pick sides before we have the full picture. And we won't get the full picture in any of this because both of these, or all three of these filings, are one-sided. All of them are to make your client look the best and their client look the worst. So I'm not passing judgment until we figure out what is up and what is down. Hey, fella. What's the point of this lawsuit? Defamation, libel, light invasion of privacy, I think is it. Speaking of text present in this case is they used Depp's text to Manson to frame it that he was abusive to AH. I'm very careful about the evidence. Exactly, because that was also out of context. And that's why I preference it every time we saw text in the other ones. Remember, we don't see the full picture. Remember when Karen Reed, when her texts were read, I even thought they'd sound worse when you got them in context because it clearly showed they weren't super close, her and John. After all, they were in a state where they probably were arguing a little bit, but you couldn't read from it what Lally did. But that's why I'm saying, if you're going to do crime, don't have your phone on you and don't use it for notes. Any negative press about Lively was unequivocally a consequence of her own actions. Even the Time itself acknowledged Lively's public missteps in an August 17th article titled, "It Ends With Us, the Press Tour Drama Explained." In it, reporter Silvani Gonzalez observed, Lively's promotion of the movie has included a push for her new hair care line, discussions of the clothes in the movie, and responses to questions about abuse, which has been criticized as shallow and tone deaf. Baldoni, by contrast, has emphasized the importance of raising awareness of DV and providing resources for those in a similar situation. Reporter says Blake Lively's little bump taunt felt like a bullet. Reporter says Blake Lively's little bump taunt felt like a bullet. Lamau, this is TMC. Lamau, we interviewed her too. Let me find that interview. Fucked her. Melissa Nathan. When lol. Also, what the F with why am I in this too? You are starlet. F this week. How was the stunt? And then he didn't take this one. What was that about? Lively's marketing efforts, which included encouraging audience to grab your friends, wear your florals, while promoting her hair care and alcohol brands, were widely criticized as insensitive. This was particularly glaring given World Health Organization statistics showing that 55% of DV incidents involve alcohol. Her actions naturally triggered organic public criticism and unleashed a cycle of negative coverage, including, as it is common in the digital age, the resurfacing of old unflattering content. It's safest to just not leave the house. Stay home, folks. Most accidents happen at home. Um, exactly. Never take a note, never write a text, never leave a voice message that you can't stand to hear in court. Back when I started in politics, they always told us never write anything on Facebook that you wouldn't be able to see on the front page of a paper, because in the digital age, any communications will be used against you. Yeah, all of this is just he said, she said. There's nothing in it. Then we have this from Tech Team. New name available from Nathan, Melissa Nathan. Tech Team member. We didn't tell Jet to go after the idea that her promo was inappropriate. That happened organically because people saw the actual movie and were like, wait, this is a movie about DV that they wore florals too. So sent me this on Saturday and goes, this is a crazy way to market this movie. Then a TikTok. I can't see what other than a floral dress. Like, come on, we had nothing to do with that. Far from being a product of a calculated smear campaign by plaintiff, the backlash against Lively was the inevitable fallout of her own tone-deaf messaging and self-promotional tactics, amplified by her inability to read the room in addressing such a serious subject. This is not us, correct? Assuming the guy we brought in would never do this. If you have to ask your PR crisis management team if it was us, you should probably have a new crisis management team. None of us would ever do this. Also, no one ever even pays any attention to this person past 2005. That's Paris Hilton. He's not relevant. He does not create a news headline. He does not get picked up. He's just now a troll. There's not one outlet that would cover anything he said or take it seriously. I think as well there is this struggle where it's kind of maybe even unbelievable the way that people are turning against her. But they are organically. It's organic. She blown herself up by her own actions. What the hell is this sentence? There is not one outlet that would cover anything he said or take it seriously. Okay. I think as well there is this struggle where it's kind of maybe even unbelievable the way that people are turning against her. These people live off of reading and writing. Unearthed Blake Lively interview show her use slur for trans people. This just ran. Obviously, none of us knew about this either, but once media goes in, they go in. And the best thing we can do right now is be quiet. Let's get through this week together, then just move on and back to regular planning with Instagram posts and thoughtful ideas and messages. The content creators are on fire, and Justin, she has handed it to them all on a plate. Just concentrate on the success of the movie, your family, and your next project. I have this weird feeling that she's going to reach out to you for a conversation in the next couple of weeks, or he will. Tag team PR. Blake Lively, fearing for her career, admitted ends with us backlash. God, I'm so over this. I'm sure Leslie thinks we placed this one as well. Yep, and same. The article also deliberately ignores that Lively's publicist, Leslie Sloan of Vision PR, once backed by Harvey Weinstein. Oh, good one to put in there, just to say, you're a friend of Harvey Weinstein. I bet you're friends with him too, but you got out there faster. Seeded stories critical of Baldoni, including that Baldoni was a sexual predator. ahead of this film's release. Sloan did so even while Nathan attempted to cooperate in good faith. That's a lot of reading. Leslie Sloan, yes, please, as thus info is all wrong. She didn't require script runs, nothing to do with this. She produced the film, got a cut. What the F is going on? The whole cast doesn't like Justin, nothing yo do with Blake. James. Like I said, though, the reporting is that there were issues between her and Justin as well as others, and that Justin found it difficult to work with her. One of these reporters known is close with Steph Jones because they used to always get Tom Brady, Giselle here, and Steph reps him, I believe. I told them she is awful and to not rely on anything she says. I'm telling you, she's a liar. They are panicking as the whole cast hates him. So they want to run something based on this reporting, and I want to shut it down, but need something to shut it down with. I know she's a liar. I just need to get my editor on board because she has 3 reporters feeding her BS, 2 from LA. Oh, these people make a living by writing and making PR. And even with my broken English, I can't read it and make it make sense. I promise she's lying. This will not look good for your side. The entire cast I will have go on record. Can you give me anything at all on what the issue is? Then it is not her and it's him. No, I'm in a plane and this needs to hold. Sounds good. I like to clear this shit up. She said the whole cast hits Justin. This has nothing to do with Blake, and now she's saying that Blake was sexually assaulted. Why wouldn't she say anything about that then? She knows she's full of shit. She told me that the whole issue was that everyone hates Justin. Nothing about Blake and Justin. She said it's nothing to do with Blake. Bullshit. That's James to Melissa Nathan. She's also friends with Taylor Swift and a whole lot of other people. Perez is cringe now. I don't know. I never saw him. Lest we not forget that the book author has spoken out in favor of Blake Lively. Yeah, I think that you would need more of the cast to come out and talk about this was actually what happened on set. Because again, right now, who has the best PR team? That's what's going on. Take the top 10 movie stars, both male and female, right now. All of them have probably been started by Harvey Weinstein. What's ironic is that Baldoni cast himself perfectly for the abuse. I don't know. We have to see it. 9 o'clock meetings should be barred. Nothing good ever comes from them. No, everything should be an email. I'll be very happy when a new trial starts. You and I both. No, but he was a big thing back in the day with the because Paris Hilton. I never understood it. Yeah, but that's not the original suit is a complaint. It's not a suit. Just does this seem like just 2 cats fighting and hurt egos? To me, it seems like a lot of unsubstantiated. The other side is lying right now. Paris Hilton was never not cringe. This is between Brian Friedman and James Daily Mail. Thanks, Melissa. Brian Friedman, I really appreciate it, James. James Daily Mail. Brian, it will be easier to send you the screen recording of our conversation, which I scroll through slowly in the conversation. You can see that Leslie bashes Melissa, tries to get me to say that Melissa was planting stories in bad-mouthing Blake. She also goes off calling Steph Jones a liar, and never once did she mention anything about the sexual harassment. Here is the screenshot recording. Had with Leslie, we talked for a while, and during the conversation, Leslie asked me who it is that Melissa reps, who is with Tech PR, what happened with that heel take situation. She also told me that Melissa is not a real PA agency and that they don't have any good clients. She told me that she did not like Melissa on multiple occasions. She also told us to who does not work with us anymore. She also asked about Steph Jones, who she was. She also asked about Steph Jones, who she was, what she did, where she works, who works with her. She had called her a liar too in text messages. Also, she has a history of lying. This is a clear example. She gave me information on a story about and the real reason that he got off stage during a performance. She gave me the info. We printed the info, didn't like it, so she comes back and says the following. I can't read that. James Daily Mail. Many times she gives us information and then her client gets mad and then she comes back and says that she never gave it to us and it's a lie. I had many conversations with her about Blake and never once did she say anything about sexual assault. I had a three-way call with her and Melissa and she never said anything. I hope this helped in some way. If nothing else, it shows she doesn't like Melissa, and she tried numerous times to get me to say that Melissa was planting stories or that Melissa was bad mouthing Blake. After I told her countless times it was not the case, she kept going. I'll call your boss. She's a piece of work. TMC Melissa Nathan. I figured I got some video from May 17th of Blake and Justin on set in Hoboken. They are in an intimate conversation, so wanted to see if they want to give any background or context. Between us, the video isn't really great, mostly doing it because of all the speculation about the feud. It's not even between us, lol. It's a, and that's, I can see that. People's story about JB false about cast crew hating him. We are told cast crew find Justin nice guy. Don't take as harsh of sides behind scene as is being reported. At this point, we are told it's being milked for publicity. Justin's over it. It really was creative differences between Blake and Justin, but wasn't nearly as bad as reported. Blake huge ego, etc., is the reporting. Melissa Nathan, I am in a hurricane in PR. She's in Puerto Rico. Oh my God, are you okay? Yes, and I just ate a poke bowl. I'd be so ill. Do you have sources? Blake Lively camp keeps thinking it's us placing, and we can't see that. It's here. Blake Lively camp keeps thinking it's us placing, and we are doing F all. Yes, on production, they've had a producer working overtime and spoke to people on production and post. Wait till I tell you the whole story. We are legit saying sources says it's all Blake's ego. You have no idea. You think you do. You do not. In my whole career, I've never come across this situation. But why aren't people saying the real story if known? Can I call you back? Leslie, Sloan, and James. They are liking City. Good for you. I know you're friends with Melissa. Yes, we are. I'm not paid to take people down. I'm honest. She hasn't done anything. Literally anti Blake. KK. She told me the same thing that she told you, which is she said that Blake's backlash is organic. It's not. She did nothing. But help get a moving, make tons of money. Justin makes ton. She was kind of off promoting it as it was Barbie. It's just based on the things that she said directly. So in this part, it is Leslie who tries to badmouth Blake because this guy says she did nothing, but she helped the movie make a ton of money. And then no, she didn't. Statement for TMC. Hello, I'm a reporter at TMC and I'm reaching out to get a statement regarding some information. We have been told there was at least 3 HR complaints filed against Justin Baldoni at the set of It Ends With Us. We want to see if the complaints were investigated and what the results were. that's uh that's a big business and a lot of people do it, and a lot of these people who will tell you that Brandon was the worst mod of 2024 will then turn around if he pays them enough and say Brandon is the best mod of 2025. No other mod have ever been as good as Brandon, because people are hired hands. Yeah, if there's a troll farm involved, you can hunt that down, and according to the other PR's firm, Melissa is apparently good at hunting stuff like that down. So it's going to be interesting. I'd rather read an old encyclopedia. Well, stay here. This trial is 99% drama, 1% law. Exactly. There's no law so far in it. If it's like 8 p.m. or something, some people just drink openly. Can't blame them. Well, seems rather civilized of a TMC to do research. I don't, yeah. Sony's HR documentation will be presented. It also entails all parties receiving and signing off on those minutes. That's interesting. A source close to set say they don't know any investigation, but there was an intervention. We heard there were multiple HR complaints from crew and cast, starting with first day of production. Wayfair is the studio. It's unclear if Wayfarer performed an investigation into the claims against themselves. Separately, we are aware that was an intervention with Justin Baldoni midway through production based on a pattern of inappropriate behavior by him towards cast and crew. Off record, the only complaint which not confirmed it if it was an official HR complaint was a guy up for a gig on the crew complained the younger guy who got it did so because of ageism. There was an investigation and found no wrongdoing. There are no other complaints, especially no other documented HR complaints. There was not an intervention on set or with members of the crew. This would be false to allude to. Blake and Ryan had Justin and his team over for a meeting where Blake expressed all of the things she was upset about. This was not Justin versus the team behind the film. It was his team versus Blake and Ryan. More of a contentious meeting. The way it reads now reads as if it was a proper intervention with cast and crew. Not true. Thank you. I just sent him. I'll keep you posted. What is the email for Wayfair? I need to legal reach out. Melissa, Nathan. Happy to I land in less than 2 hours. Thank you. Have a safe flight. Just also, I'm not doing one thing without speaking to you. I'm not answering one email about the situation. I've told everyone to not do one thing, plant seed, even speak to one reporter, even on background. Now I am involved. There will be no shock surprises for you. Me either. Tried you. Hey, I need to chat. Hi, I want to get into a place I can call. That was a whole lot of nothing. To assert that plaintiff orchestrated a premeditated smear campaign is to disregard objective evidence that unequivocally contradicts such claims. Even a cursory investigation by the Times would have exposed the baseless nature of Lively's allegation and the lack of factual support for her narrative. Most troubling, however, is the Times' deliberate omission of a critical player in this manufactured controversy, Stephanie Jones, once Baldoni's and Wayfair's trusted public relations representative. Jones not only had intimate access to the communication strategy and crisis management surrounding the film, but also played a pivotal role in leaking private communications cited in the article. Her betrayal, driven by a quid pro quo arrangement with Lively, appears aimed at shielding herself while aligning with Lively for curry favor and secure future opportunities. Stephanie Jones to you and Wayfair has been nice and fixed things for us in the past. I can give her a call. That's not. This is a nothing burger. Left word for she's been very nice in the past, and this will get fixed. Hey, I'm a reporter for Daily Mail, and I'm currently working on a story surrounding recent rumors that there was a feud between It Ends With Us co-stars Blake and Justin Baldoni. The Times compounded its journalistic failures by uncritically advancing Lively's unsubstantiated claims of sexual harassment against Heath and Baldoni. For example, the article, based on Lively's CRD complaint, sensationally alleges that Mr. Heath had shown Lively a video of his naked wife, which Lively's CRD complaint even labeling the footage as corn. This claim is patently absurd. The video in question was non-corn recording of Heath's wife and baby during a home birth, a deeply personal one with no sexual overtones. To distort this benign event into an act of sexual misconduct is outrageous and emblematic of the lens to which Lively and her collaborators are willing to go. And there's a still of the video. I'll have to see if it's PG. Yeah, it's fine. Can I say something? If you feel the need to show this to your coworkers, don't. This is weird. I don't give a F about if it's sexual or not, but this is weird unless she asks you and say, oh, you had a home birth. Well, I had 4 kids and I had all of them at the hospital. That sounds so interesting. How was it? Oh, it was fantastic. And we were in our own home in a little kiddie pool, and we were in it together, and it was just magical. Oh, I wish I could try that with Ryan. Can I see a picture? Do you have a picture how it was? Then you can say, yes, I do. But you don't go up to someone and say, hey, want to see this? Yeah, you can always argue on these committees and you'll never fix anything. The title's failure to scrutinize, but I will agree, this is not corn. This is deeply personal, but there's no corn in it. When we heard about the picture of the birth, I thought we were seeing a video of the poop shoot and the fun place. That's different, but still. Brandon, you work for a company, or you have a company, or you go. Sometimes you do a meeting. How often are you shown pictures of births in that company? Mace? Yeah. Yeah, it's I worked in a bakery once where we had female bakers weren't that prolific back then, and we had a young woman who came in. She was a pretty woman, and you work in a toxic male environment, and she was very upfront with stuff, and she said, "Hey guys, just so you know it, I have a boyfriend. Do you know what I'm going to give him for Christmas?" And she showed us like a boudoir calendar, everything covered up, but still nice pictures of her professionally taken. And she said, and that's the only time you'll see me in that little clothes. So treat me like everyone else and stop treating me like you have a chance, because none of you have. That was okay in that environment. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work if I tomorrow came here and said, hey, channel, know what? These are my nipples. No, I would find it. I would tell people to go jump in a lake if they came and gave it to me. We were bought by a large financial institution, so it's the same thing with a ton of extra BS oversight. Yeah, and that's and you just have to step this much off the beaten track and you will get all the complaints. Does the wife know these images were on her husband's phone and now they're part of a public filing? My advice, save up for therapy money for that child. Yeah, that's another thing because they put it into the filing with, and I'm showing it right now to the world. There's 180 people watching. This is not appropriate, and I know other creators will be covering this as well. The Times' failure to scrutinize these claims or even provide a balanced account of the events further underscores its role in amplifying Lively's falsehoods while abandoning its responsibility to truth and accuracy. This video was shown to Lively as part of a creative discussion in preparation for a birthing scene in the film. Heath informed Lively that his wife condoned his displaying the video. Any suggestion that he'd engaged in an exhibition of porn or inappropriate context is false. Still, this is very, very personal stuff. I would find it very, yeah. It's two naked people in a pool with a baby. I would find it highly. I haven't shown any of the baby pictures of my grandbaby either to anyone because you might see parts of my daughter's body that's still covered up, but it's probably not something you show friends. When I'll show them the pictures where he's on her clothed body. Yeah, this is and it'll be saved on the server for whenever they need to get a lawsuit on you. Hey, Reby. Can't pull that one up. Adding to the sexual harassment narrative is the article's parroted accusation that both men repeatedly entered her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding. What Lively and the article failed to mention is that Lively invited Baldoni into her trailer while pumping to work out their lines. Blake, I'm so sorry to hear you and baby are sick. I know it's literally the last thing you need right now on top of a tough week. I pray it comes and goes with mild symptoms and more than anything that he is okay. If you feel up for it, I'm here absolutely anytime and would love to check in. I know this week was a lot and I'm committed to making things run smoother across the board. Blake, our mistake. Molly did get the new pages at 11 p.m. last night. She didn't realize they were new, but new pages can always be sent to me as well, please. I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work out our lines. Copy. Eating with crew and we'll head that way. Take your time. I'm here. I'll meet you in H/MU. Sorry, I'm just seeing this. Here's a shorter version of Christie's original. You upset? Don't answer. You didn't like the flowers, or is it you didn't like the... This is lines. I don't care. Then have him whisper in ear and they leave. Likewise, the allegation that Baldoni inappropriately described Lively's character's attire as smexy are exaggerated and misleading. The text exchange between Baldoni and Lively show that Lively had insisted that her character's clothing be much smexier. Well, Baldoni later used the word smexy. He was just responding to her creative input, not objectifying her personally. Lively set the tone that Baldoni heeded during the creative process. Just text Angie this also. We'll show you both ways, but beanies is much smexier. It's the look feels TV without, especially with a crop top in the snow. It justifies the rest of the skin and also is a girl I would check out walking down the street because it washes the effort off the rest of the look. Is this English? Gold morning. If you don't have time to listen with morning craziness, here is text. Just want to make sure okay with throwing the jacket on from yesterday morning or putting it on you. I want to line up a shot and see if I can just use a piece of the shoulder for the establishing shot, the old cafe we didn't get yesterday. I might not need it. I just want to cover. See you soon. If it's just her shoulder, no problem. If it's her body or head, etc., then it should be me. I was wondering about not having that shot, but kept to myself. Yeah, we ran out of time. I want to line it up with the shoulder, and if it doesn't work, then when you're dressed, we'll figure it out. By the way, if you're ever wondering if we have a shot or needed one, I don't ever feel it's overstepping if you bring it up to me. For your information, Brandon just landed. We're talking character. No one waiting. Mortified they dropped me off at the flower shop. I was in the wrong spot. These people have too much money, too much time, and too little to care about to write lawsuits like this. If I read that correctly, that birding pictures was from a video of the entire bird. Yeah, it was a still shot. I don't know how much of the video was in there. So yes, that was, which would, if it's the part, I would think that's even more weird. Um, there's a reason it's called Hollywood. Yeah. None of this is true. Sure, we signed a writer promising to stop doing it, but it never happened. Again, sometimes you just go along together. I don't know anything. I just know all of these, and I hate this. We read the PR firm, that Susan girl, and now we're reading this one. Can we all agree this is bitch fighting between Lively and Baldoni, but they are using other people as the vessel to attack each other? Because these two lawsuits has nothing to do with Justin and Blake's problem, but it's constantly about those two problems. It was the same with the PR woman and now this one. I miss the back in the day when you can get punched in the face and be told stop it, and then you didn't have to go through all of this BS. Also misleading, the article draws on Lively's assertion that Baldoni improvised unwanted kissing and discussed his Smex life. However, both the Times and Lively intentionally exclude that Lively refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator to plan out the film's Smex scenes. Baldoni, in turn, was forced to meet with the intimacy coordinator alone and relay any suggestions to Lively separately. Oh, that's a problem if that's true. Notwithstanding, because she was the one who wanted the intimacy. So that needs an explanation. Notwithstanding Baldoni's reluctance, he and Lively would later sketch out the scenes together, absent the intimacy coordinator. As part of those creative discussions, Baldoni and Lively sought to personalize and develop their characters, and in doing so, engaged in conversation about their individual experiences. The Times take Lively's CRD complaint as true, characterizes this discussion as an inappropriate attempt by Baldoni to talk about his Smex life. It was not. More still, Baldoni consistently acted at the direction of the intimacy coordinator. These baseless accusations do not constitute sexual harassment. Justin Baldoni, just hired intimacy coordinator who I love, will set you up to meet FT FaceTime with her next week for intro. I feel good. I can meet with her when we start. Thank you, though. Just for your information, just wanted to tell you about this. Seems she doesn't want to meet intimacy coordinator until we start, which may mess up the workflow, but I can still meet with her, of course. That's fine. If she doesn't want to meet her now, you'll just have to walk her through what you and intimacy coordinator are thinking. Despite its effort to craft a distorted narrative, the Times fails to address a glaring contradiction in Lively's CRD complaint. After the execution of the Protection for Return to Production agreement in November, Lively herself acknowledges that the film was completed, marketed, and released safely and successfully. While Wayfair, Baldoni, and Heath disagree with Lively's rationale for requesting the document, many of its provisions were already standard practice. They choose to comply for the sake of the film and to ensure Lively's comfort, and I could see that. Crucially, Lively concedes that neither Baldoni or Heath engaged in any harassing behavior following the agreement in November 2023. Furthermore, she admits that she stated concerns were sufficiently addressed at the time. This admission directly undermines her allegations of retaliation and strips her claims of credibility. Without the fabricated smear campaign narrative propping up her CRD complaint, Lively's retaliation claim collapses under its own contradictions, exposing it as yet another ploy to salvage her public image rather than pursue any legitimate grievances. The fact that Lively's embarked on a hostile takeover of the production, strong arming Sony into blessing her with ultimate control as they became increasingly frantic and unsettled by the usurpation of their roles. Baldoni remained resolute that they continued to take the high road and be proud of this beautiful baby they had all made together. This is the thing we heard the first time, that she was in a power play because she wanted to make the second movie without him and get the rights for it. That could also be a thing. Notwithstanding, Lively waged war on Baldoni, weaponizing innocuous interactions from May and June 23, long before there was any tension between them. So there was tension, to vilify and discredit him. At the time, Baldoni and Lively had a solid working relationship, and Lively expressed no unease around him. Only after the writer's strike had ended and filming was set to resume did Lively express any concern about returning to set. In response, Wayfair and Baldoni agreed to all of Lively's demands. Actors are so weird that the few times someone seems even slightly normal, everyone praises them like the second coming of the Christ. Yeah. Even Nicolas Cage is being touted as, oh, he's just a little bit weird. Oh, he's a big weirdo. Justin played her husband. Yeah, he was the leading role. He was the director and leading role, and his company, the Wayfair, who he is co-owner of with some money man, and then Heath is the CEO of that company as well. But they had the rights to the book, which is a book I never read, never heard about, but apparently it's very, very popular. And again, it could be a power play to get the rights for the second book and push him out of it. Just curious if you guys have peeked at her cut and if anything has changed. Editor number 2, I have just been told that we are not permitted to look. Haha, wow. When did that happen? As per Sony this evening, though, through. Wow, okay then. The editors and director isn't allowed to look at an actress cut. Got it. Well, here we go. We will keep taking the high road. To suggest, as the time does, that plaintiffs engaged in dark arts to destroy Lively's reputation is to ignore that Lively had long-standing reputational challenges and that plaintiffs' public relations efforts were rudimentary, above board, and entirely defensive. The Times willingly omits any meaningful discussion of the true source of tension between Lively and plaintiffs, which was Lively's brazen and calculated effort to expropriate the film. Melissa Nathan. Like, come on, we had nothing to do with it. This is crazy. She doesn't have a good reputation. All of this is organic stuff from real people making TikToks, not bots. Exactly. If it was just comments, I'd be like, oops, but it's not, lol. Blake Lively is slammed over how she styled younger actress. I like the floral design. Editor 1, hey, just checking in. Hope you're hanging in there. We are going to get through this. Damn it. Baldoni, thanks for checking in. I've been sad with it, and I think the best path forward spiritually and what's best for the movie is that I suck it up and let her in. I've sent a message requesting that it start on the 18th, and then we would just let her in until she leaves, and then her cuts and updates throughout the process. I'll let you guys know what she says. Thanks for being awesome. Dream team, we got you. I think that sounds like a very good plan on all fronts. We made a beautiful baby together. The baby might not grow up tone exactly who we thought, but it's still beautiful. That's what I'm holding on to. Very proud of us. Wow, I can't say I'm shocked because I was hoping that you were going to be able to not let this beat you down, and it sounds like you have achieved that. And yes, the movie we handed her was so good that even if it's been screwed with, the base work will still shine through. The last I heard was that she was putting back a fair amount of our version, just not sure what that entailed or to what extent. I guess you'll find out today. Hang in there and we'll all catch up when the wounds are not quite as fresh. Sending love to you both. The Times assertion that plaintiffs orchestrated a campaign to tarnish Lively's reputation blatantly disregards her bizarre behavior at the time and misrepresent plaintiffs' action, which were modest, transparent, and purely defensive. The article entirely sidestepped the real source. We just read this. They put this in twice. Yeah, 25 and 26 is the same. Hey Jamie just filled me in about BookCon. I know this is devastating and such a kick in the gut. It's petty and childish at this point. I'm just making sure you're okay. We will get through this. Eye on the prize. Her attending BookCon is a win for the film ultimately. And if she wants to drag her ass to Texas, then let her. You can be home with your family, which is important. This is Jen Abel, who is his PR person. Justin answers, she kicked me out officially from the film now. She's finishing it all. I can't be involved, music, sound, VFX, anything. I'll make it through somehow. Just need to feel it all. Justin Baldoni, hey, can we get a call on the books to discuss overall strategy and also the sensitivity of what we are going into with these release? I love Steph there's as well and Jamie and Tara. Jen Abel. Absolutely. Steph is still recovering from surgery and likely not available for this until another week. I can check with her schedule and come back to you with dates. We talked about the sensitivity and importance of what we can say about the No More partnership on the last touch base we had with Jamie and Ashmi, as we need to hone in on that messaging and start planting those seeds as we get closer. Also, any word on if it has been proposed yet to Sony about pushing release to July? Justin, no. This is the sensitivity about Blake. Oh, copy. Give Jeremy a call right now so he can update you on what's happening. Oh boy. Okay, calling him now. Just spoke to him. What a horrible person, but nothing we can't handle. What's important is that you do what you need to do and have the space to make a great movie. I'll touch base with Steph and get a sense of her recovery and when she will be up for a call. Do you know if the Buckeyes are going to play the University of Notre Dame today or if they are covering back in Georgia? No, because I don't know anything about college football. The only thing I know is the Notre Dame is the Fighting Irish. And funny enough, my mod Irish is also often seen fighting, mostly in Mexico against the bouncer. But if they're going to play today, I'd say go. I don't know. What do they say at Notre Dame? Go Leprechauns. What is the movie? It ends with us. It should be good. It should be good. It was made on a 25 million budget and made 340 million. So it's been a popular movie. This kind of stuff happens on a lot of movies. Usually, the less powerful star just lets it go. You even have situations where actors ruin the film for the director if they are a bigger name. Yeah, isn't Han Solo quite known for being very, very hard to work with and changing a lot of stuff? I'm going to take all of our mod DMs to HR. We don't have mod DMs. We have a special group, but I will tell Jamie to put on some clothes and not send those pictures. They play it for Georgia and North Dakota. Yeah, I don't know. Is the Buckeye Store Beaver sports team beating everyone? Yeah, it could be. Exactly. Can't believe they are proceeding with the game so soon. Well, you can't let the bad guys win. Irish only fight for the right to party. Yeah. Um, that's why I have the mods here. I know they can beat people down. I think Harrison Ford is just hard to work with in general because he's a moody. Yeah. I think that punch in Blade Runner probably wasn't an accident. Notre Dame versus Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Don't eat too much sugar. I'm going to learn all of those college teams. I know the Gamecocks. I know the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I know the Ohio State Cornhuskers. I know Georgia Bulldogs. Michigan Paperweights. Tennessee Vols. Yeah, I'm getting better at it, but I have to think about KY. Makes me think of something other than Kentucky. Go Irish. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Pepley. How are you doing? Oh, don't eat Puddle. He's a good guy. Nebraska Cornhuskers. It's the same. Oh, late as always, Valhalla. Notably absent from the Times narrative is Lively's insistence of obtaining editing privileges and demanding her own version of the film, a departure from industry standards. And that's weird. Even more egregious, Lively leveraged her promotional commitments to pressure for the release of her cut. Evidence of Baldoni's efforts to accommodate Lively's demands, including a series of text exchanges with editors who was later replaced by Lively in favor of her husband's editor, underscores the extreme length Baldoni went to in order to preserve the film's integrity. The Times' willful omission of this critical details not only distorts the truth, but also perpetuates a false narrative that conveniently absolved Lively of her own culpability in the unraveling of professional relationship and the upheaval surrounding the film. That's weird. Bringing in and the whole bringing. I know why they are bringing in her husband, because right now everything he touches is gold. He's not the Ryan Reynolds of Green Lantern. He's the Ryan Reynolds of Deadpool. So if he goes into a Sony-backed production and says, I'm pretty sure Sony is saying, yes, sir. So again, this seems like a lot of high school drama with people who have too much money and too little brains. I'm just saying this is, and then you just use all the right buzzword to attack each other. I don't like this one. Is it early enough for me to understand Baker's innuendo? I haven't innuendo today, have I? I like him as Deadpool. Here comes the Irish. That's what the Irish yells when she enters a bar. Roll Tide. They have an elephant as a mascot. The KY reference. That wasn't an innuendo. That was clearly a lubricant related thing. The two dream team. Blake wants to know when you could be there next week. I can fly on Sunday or Monday, up to you guys. And would you prefer to be there or edit from home? I honestly don't have a preference, and so it begins. We could push for you to stay home. It's up to you. Both have pros and cons. I want Blake to feel like she's getting what she wants so we can move on from this need of hers. For the record, she's getting what she wants this entire movie. I understand, and she's getting to edit, which is what she wants. Let's remember that, lol. Yes, and yet true. I don't want to give her any opportunity to say, well, because blah was in LA, we could only work certain hours, so I need more time, and I didn't really get what I needed, or whatever it may be. Points is if you feel it's best and you want to go there, no problem at all. And also, if you would like to stay home, that's something that we can say. I just want you to do what's best for you. They are showing it at Book Bonanza. The whole movie? Yep, hers. Wow. Was supposed to be ours, and then I was uninvited. Whole thing is pretty cruel and intense. Uneffing believable. Sorry, Justin. I love you both. I just hope you love or at least stomach the cut that is going out into the world. Haven't seen it, can't yet. Also missing from the article is Lively's demand for an unearned producer's credit and coveted PGA mark, a demand that Wayfair and Baldoni were forced to concede under duress, as documented internally. Anyone know when the next Tennessee game is? Well, they lost against, was it the Ohio State? So I think they are not playing till next year. But Wallstorm can update you on that one. I do believe Michigan Wolverines beat that Crimson Tide. Go Blue. Go Blue is that's a boring one. It's more fun when it has cool names. Uh, yes, it entails a lot of producers and documentation is a must. Keeping logs prior, during, and after a dispute is integral, which is why some folks ultimately drop it. Yeah, this is stupid. Even if Lively did overstep her authority, that should have been addressed by Sony, not punished by disrespect. So far, I'm seeing two people who should never have been put on the same movie set. I see two children who got too much power. That's what I see so far. My youngest son got his first deer, 260 yards. That's a big deer. 260 yards. That's 2 football fields and a half. That's congrats. I've seen the fish you normally catch. So a 260-yard long deer is that's almost as big as Paul Bunyan's ox. Yes, I showed my cultural knowledge. Paul Bunyan, he had an axe and a ox. That info triggered people in some chats. Well, I would be triggered if I saw a 240-yard long deer as well. But people should know where food comes from. And a deer is probably better than most cow farms. Do I ice skate? I haven't done it since the 80s. Naturally, I was very sensitive to upsetting others. Yes, that's. I'm happy that you have taken your non-upsetting, very sensitive hat on today. I know speak English. They're actors. It's their job to work with other people. They need to suck it up. Yeah. Thank you, son, on behalf of the person who won't total their car with that deer jumps out in front of them. I'm the mayor of Rocky Top, Cocktown. Thank you, Brandon, for always making me say fun words. So I make sure that info is highlighted now. Thank you, Zach. And again, congratulations. It's good for kids to learn where food comes from. Too many people think it comes from the freezer. Even though I don't hunt myself. I love going hunting. It's really hard. I've never gotten anything, just help with the processing part. You'll have to take grandkids skating with age appropriate. The problem is we don't have any. Well, we have skating rings, but I live in Scandinavia, but we hardly ever get so much cold that the legs freezes over so you can skate on it. It was better back in maybe it was the early 90s. We had a few very cold winters. Back in the 80s, we had ice winters where the sounds around Denmark froze over. So the Swedes could have done it again. But we haven't had that in many years. We live in the hot part of Scandinavia. Don't forget that we have Stits and Snits in Discord tonight at 6 p.m. with Danny T and Jemima. Thank you, Jess, for making the Discord fun and interesting. I participated last week. I will not do it tonight because I will be up tomorrow at 11 and doing a night show. So $2 you two can feed a Danish attic streamer. I should move into my attic and put a door into my attic because then I could deduct it on my taxes. Probably would cost more than I could make to convert my attic into a streaming place. Thank you, Brendan. Usually get lakes frozen every year, but not always in the city here. Sometimes have to drive an hour. We don't get that. Don't read what? That you also use loop? We can go ice skating, Fed. I can teach you how to check children in a way that they will remember forever. Some people shouldn't internet. They actually have dug out a low part in our local park. When the ground freezes, the fire trucks comes and fill it with a few inches of water so the kids have somewhere safe to skate. We do those plastic things. They're crap, but I have skated on them, but I'm too old and too fat to skate these days. Private and confidential PGA letter, external, so it's not internal. Jamie Heath, hey everyone, I'm writing to you all regarding a letter that I wrote on behalf of Justin and myself addressed to the Productors Guild. As you know, we received a request to write a recommendation on behalf of Blake for her to receive the PGA mark. This was a request that we feel was unreasonable and cold-hearted. Essentially, the movie, i.e., It Ends With Us, has been taken unjustly from Justin as a director and essentially from Wayfarer's control due to the extortion of Blake. Without going into all the details of the event that has transpired over the months, Justin and I ended up agreeing to write the letter due to feeling trapped. She continues to hold a threat over our heads, and every time we try and hold a line, she uses that threat either directly or indirectly to get us to fold. Make no mistakes, I'm not suggesting that we were literally forced to acquiesce, yeah. But given the high profile of the movie, the partnership with Sony, the amount of money invested, and the need to complete the movie, we have written the letter on her behalf, omitting the truth of how and why she was able to contribute in a way we listed. There's nothing to do with this letter now. It only serves as a way to memorialize why this letter was sent in the first place, should we ever need to explain it. Thank you, Jeremy. And this is the letter to the Production Guild of America. Dear members of the Producers Guild of America, we hope this letter finds you well. We are writing to inform you of the significant role and contributions that Blake Lively has played in the making of the film It Ends With Us, based on the best-selling Blah. The film has meant a great deal both personally and to our company, Wayfarers, as we optioned the property nearly 5 years ago. As such, we've been directly involved with overseeing every step of development, from adapting the book to the big screen, to bringing on our co-financier distributor Sony, and of course casting our lead. From the time Blake was brought on, she has had an instrumental voice in many different aspects of making of the film. Her contributions has been impactful, as she was consulted with many of the casting options. She helped to refine the script. She redesigned her own wardrobe as well as gave notes on others. She contributed to the production design and set decoration, and had influence on how many of the scenes were shot. Blake has been very involved in the post process as well. She has had an active role in the edit, the sound mix, and made decisions on the music selection and score. She also continues to find creative ways to promote the film so that it can achieve its greatest success. Since contractually she began the movie with an EP credit, our early submission to the PGA did not include her as a named producer, but we both feel her contributions has warranted the revised credit and consideration for the PGA mark on behalf of Wayfarer Studios. Again, it seems a lot of children. Your perverted reign of terror is over, Val. This is 2025, aka the year of Brandon, at least until the second Friday. What's happening on the second Friday? Should we be worried now? Uh, Second Friday is where everyone quits their resolutions. Am I wrong on that? No, that's 3 days in. Oh, that's when he goes for sentencing. Oh, okay. No, inauguration day will be the day before my birthday. It's a Monday. Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. No, it's a Monday. Moreover, the article fails to address the fact that Baldoni was systematically sidelined from the marketing of his own film. From the very beginning, Baldoni had insisted on marketing the film with the focus on DV and its survivors, a message that was integral to the film's purpose. Yet Lively drastically limited his input and deliberately steered the promotional campaign away from its societal message, further undermining Baldoni's role. Lively initially refused to permit his attendance at the film's premiere. Only after significant pressure did she reluctantly agree to allow Baldoni and the Wayfarer team to attend, but under humiliating conditions. The Wayfarer team and their families, including Baldoni and Heath, were segregated from the main cast, barred from the exclusive after party, and forced to organize their own event at additional cost. Baldoni's participation on the red carpet was cut short, and his family and friends were confined to a makeshift holding area in the basement before being escorted into a separate theater after Lively's departure. Not only had Lively stolen the film, but she's also robbed Baldoni and his team of any genuine opportunity to celebrate their hard work. Jen Abel, but nothing we can't get through together. This film will be successful. She has already promoted heavily, so if she backs away now, it looks worse on her, and you just focus on the bigger picture on how this film is going to change the game for you and your studio. Remember when they said in the beginning she didn't promote the movie? Just find ways to keep me busy when she gets everyone together. Obviously, if the whole cast is making content together, that is her trying to clue people into there being an issue. Everything she does is calculated, yet so manic. I hear you, and we are already ahead of this with Sony, who has you our back here. I feel good about that, and they understand the larger issues if fans start poking holes. That doesn't benefit Sony either. She doesn't want to be the bad guy, so she'll find a way to say it without saying it. And that's why we just stay ahead of it. Attempting to rewrite history and like I'm not the one who developed this and spent 5 years trying to make it. And like there's an issue with me. It's just mean and hurtful, and she knows exactly what she's doing. Justin Baldoni to the Dream Team. Infection in my spine, pretty seriously. Great doctors and caught it early. Blah blah. Had a feeling. My body is done. Too much stress. Will be in a hospital probably until Tuesday now. Then IV antibiotics via a PICC line for 6 weeks, which means can't travel. Regaffel, so happy he liked it. Just gonna check this picture. No, that's fine. Damn, then just take care of yourself. If Blake is so determined to handle the marketing on the movie, then just let her. Perfect time to look out for number one. If you think about it, we didn't even finish our director's cut because she intervened. So ideally, at some point, we can take a week and all just do it together for ourselves. But that opens up a new can of worms, so we will need to let this play out for a while before we pull that card. And your door will be knocked on. The amount of women who feel seen, that is reaching people all over the world, that men are remembering their own traumas and having conversation with their partners. That's why we did this, and it worked. Still the dream team. Incredible. That's the best news. Exactly. The most important thing. Too late, Blah and I talked earlier and agreed we just couldn't be in the same room with Blake. The last day to get our tickets was August 2nd. We'll be loving all of the red carpet looks from Justin. Long story, but we won't be in same room. I was asked to not even come to premiere. I can't figure it out. I am glad you're going. You did all the work. That was the main reason we didn't go because we were under the impression you wouldn't be there. Well, if you decide to change your mind last minute, let me know and let's figure it out together. I'm going to be there. That's just different timing and holding areas and theaters and all the things you can imagine. It's still our film. It would be very hard for me to sit and watch the final film for the first time at the premiere. Just cheer for us when our names come up. Sending all love. Okay, yeah, I haven't seen it either. Crazy times. Then a picture. As a DV survivor in my teens and now at 40, this movie gave me the strength to leave despite warnings. He continued with his raging tone. I'm heartbroken, but I've endured 6.5 years of this. Had been in DV at 16 when I had to put an RO against him and my sons, who is now 23. I ended up in the same relationship with a different man at the age of 34, and I'm now 40, almost 41, and this movie helped me. This is why we do this. This is why I made this film. Can we reshare somehow to amplify stories, maybe? Hey, Claire de la Lune. Karen Reed's text with cherry picked. Dream Feed Media did a stream showing how Lally conveniently picked what he wanted to use. The real ones aren't as bad sounding. I actually thought they were worse when you read all of them because I did that. I read all of them on stream because it showed that they were actually arguing more than they thought. And it actually made John look jealous, kind of like he implied that she was banging the plumber. Did Baker make the board for yesterday? I told you. It's right there. I framed it and everything. Because I know this other guy, he promised stuff and didn't do it. And now he's homeless with a lot of legal troubles. Yeah. But I did it this morning, Brandon, because I said I would do it, and then I did it. And I framed it. I didn't even make it a board, I made it a frame. Never a good sign when actors get to make changes to the edit done by professional editors. Ecocentrism. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of small peen energy was around this movie. Yeah, you better go work, Zach, and congratulations to your son. And thank you, Krista, for the 3 corner kisses. After reasoning all of that, you deserve so much more, kind sir. Thank you for being you, Baker, and excited for tonight's Baker at night, my first one. I think I saw that posted. Love you to you. Well, thank you, Krista. I will hopefully get out of bed by the right time. I was in a death trap soon for 40 minutes. Guess you get to keep your home and peaceful life. Well, thank you, Brandon, for not ruining my life by inserting 27-year-olds and coca into it. This is like 2 pigs fighting over a corn cob after a long day in the mud. Exactly. I'm eating Junglevol and I can't stop. Well, they're good. You should try those one you sent to me. They are even more salty. Why did the deer get braces? He had buck teeth. Zach just left Puddletown. You don't have to pick it up for him. When Wayfarer and Baldoni hired Lively to appear in the film, they did not participate. She would execute a hostile takeover of the entire project. Lively cynically abuse of sexual harassment allegation to assert unilateral control over every aspect of the production was both strategic and manipulative. Simultaneously, her public image suffered as a result of a series of high-profile blunders, which she tried to deflect by blaming plaintiffs for the public's prying interest into the foibles of an A-list celebrity. This is nothing but an excuse. Fame is a double-edged sword, but Lively's tactics here are unconscionable. Alongside the time, she orchestrated a malicious attack on the reputations, careers, and personal lives of plaintiffs, subjecting them to public humiliation, threats, and vitriol. This lawsuit seeks to hold the Times accountable for its role in this defamation campaign, but plaintiffs are not done. There are other bad actors involved, and make no mistake, this will not be the last lawsuit. Threatening with lawsuits is, I think, not a good idea, especially in a law text. Death threat. There are guillotines in hell for all of you disgusting liars intentionally spreading deceitful misinformation about innocent people. Are you all brain dead? Or are you all Zionist Israeli Jews doing your job naturally as terrorists in every aspect, whether it be the entertainment industry or politics? You all know you've done unethical work for evil people. That has absolutely nothing to do with this movie. Dear Tech PR, this is a message from Melissa Nathan, who said we can bury anyone. Melissa, I have more knowledge than you do about Hollywood, knowing the dirty secret of many directors and influential people up to the White House, because I'm clothed in black. Some of the directors may know what that means. Before you go attacking good people like Blake Lively, be sure of this. There is no secret those of us clothed in the darkest black of night do not know. It's a ninja. It's a ninja. Woot, woot. We have a ninja. Clothed in the darkest black of night. It's finally a ninja. We haven't had a ninja since the Bradley Yawn case. No, since the Laurie Shaver case. And one day we will share those secrets in a forced public press meeting to the whole world in a foreign country with the help of technology you have no understanding of. In that day, the corrupt in Hollywood will realize all their codes, cues, keys, and triggers in their films will fall back on their own heads, and all their vile acts against children will throw them into darkness. Do not play with Blake Lively. Time is ours, as is the night. We are above every government on earth and even Nassau. Nassau is where James Bond goes to meet. What's her name? Dominic? No. Thunderbolt. What's the leading actress name in Thunderbolt? Fedorowski, you should know this. But that's in Nassau. They go to find the two nuclear weapons that the fake Italian pilot stole, and then the evil Spectrum man cut his oxygen line. He used gamma gas to take over the plane. Great movie. Thunderbolt. Check it out. James Bond. Good old Sean Connery. Well, sometime I think they deserve a slap. So next time you want to crush someone like Blake Lively, think again. We work in ways you will never perceive. You know the difference in deer nuts and beer nuts? Beer nuts are 99 cents. Deer nuts are just under $1. Oh, this is going to be a long day. It's both Puddletown and Shad gets going. It's oh, I can't find my pen. Was that a quote from Kanye West? I don't know where this is from. This woman put like 6-7 figures of diamonds, and I was just like, I can tell you didn't shower, and the camera cut off was the shelf. Just rock the cans at that. What am I reading? I'm waiting for any of these people to actually sue each other. They haven't taken direct aim yet. Yeah, this is all by proxy. It sounds kind of like Chat GPT make a death threat based on QAnon. Ninja. Why was the deer upset? His wife flew to Vegas and blew $50. Yeah, but what was her name in the movie? Domino? Maybe. And $50 isn't that much, Puddletown. Just see that British girl who did 101. She's going for 1,000 the next time. Horrible internet things. Didn't I say Thunderball? Puddletown making his mark as best chatter early in 2025. Hold my dear. Yeah, but the main one, she's the sister of the pilot who dies, and she is what's his name? The one with the eye patch. She's his lover, and then Bond. She steps on a sea urchin, and he sucks out the poison. Great movie. This is a mess of a litigation. I hope the judge gets this case deliberately just on the workplace issues determined what is PR, what is troll, and what is fanfic. Would give anyone a migraine. Yeah. Yeah, it looks. Yes, her name was Domino. Domino's Vitali. I have never seen so many deer points. I'm bad at this. Oh dear. Maybe I probably said Thunderbolt. Yeah, a lot of diving. Yeah, Sean Connery, the greatest Bond, the only real Bond. But he didn't like the women folks. They needed a little slap. Parties and jurisdiction. It's just that they are all in California, and that's why they can do it in California. It's not interesting. Jurisdiction and venue. It's proper in the Superior Court of California, Los Angeles. Facts and comment to all causes of action. Lively uses unsubstantial claims to bully Wayfair and Baldoni in an effort to take over the film. In or about early 19, Baldoni, through his literary agent, contacted the author of the book, which the film is based on. He expressed a deep interest in adapting the book into a feature-length movie picture that aligned with his history of impactful storytelling. Baldoni envisioned a film that would shed light on the struggles of DV survivors, amplifying their voices and inspire societal change. Driven by his unwavering commitment, often as significant personal sacrifice, Baldoni ensured the film stayed true to this vision, ultimately achieving its purpose. On and about May 19, Wayfair secured an option for the book's rights with the intent of creating a film that would bring critical attention to the widespread issues of intimate partner violence. Over the next 5 years of development, Baldoni and Wayfair maintained a strong and collaborative relationship with the book's author. With the rights to the book secure and a plan to finance the project, Wayfair committed to producing the film. Baldoni, whose passion and creative vision was central to the project, would direct and star in it. Wayfair partnered with Sony to co-finance and distribute the film. The agreement included Wayfair's and Baldoni's assistance, a requirement that 1% of the film's proceeds be donated to survivors of domestic DV. That 1% was ultimately earmarked for the organization No More, with which Baldoni has wanted to partner as early as September 22. On or about December 31st, 22, Lively agreed to take on the lead role of Lily Bloom. As part of the subsequently negotiations, Lively was granted an executive producer credit, a title often associated with talent of her stature. Wayfair did not request that Lively contributed to the film in any capacity beyond her performance and this credit. Lively takes over wardrobe. On or about May 15, 23, principal photography of the film commenced in New Jersey. During pre-production, Lively began to assert control over aspects of the film beyond her roles as an actor and outside the scope of her contractual entitlements. While lead actors are sometimes granted approval over the general look of their on-screen character, this authority typically does not include full control over wardrobe decisions without input from the director and producers. Lively went so far as to purchase items for her wardrobe, albeit at her own expense, without the approval of directors and producers. Nevertheless, Lively overstepped these boundaries, sidelining production's costume designer, a seasoned professional with a long-standing working relationship with Lively. Ignoring the director's vision for a character and disregarding the weeks spent by the entire team shopping and thoughtfully crafting her wardrobe in preparation for filming, Lively would send hundreds of images to the film's costume designer during all hours of the evening, pointing them in the direction of the appearance she wanted for her character. The costume designer then had to reshop her wardrobe, far exceeding the allocated budget and dividing time and resources. At one point, Lively insisted that her character had money and could afford $5,000 shoes, which had Baldoni rethinking the entire script that had been worked on for well over a year and had been approved for both studios. Lively also several times refused to participate in wardrobe fittings on the production office, a mere 15 minutes away from Lively's Tribeca residence. Instead, she insisted the costume department packed up the wardrobe department and delivered all her wardrobe items to her, loading the wardrobe department on trucks and delivering them to Lively's residence for fittings added both time to the production schedule and expense to the film. Two things productions work hard to avoid with careful planning. These demands were never mentioned at the contract negotiation phase and therefore were not included in the budget. Lively, herself having a further obligation to the studio as an executive producer, paid no mind to the budget or the months of planning that had already occurred. That seems a little diva-esque. That I don't want to drive 15 minutes. I wanted to have it at my home. You'll probably counter it. I'll just had a baby, but still. Legend has it this deer ran through the entire Notre Dame offensive line in warm-ups before it meant Zach's son will get you next time, OSU. Ohio State University. But it's a 240-yard deer. That's a long deer. See you later, Celestial. Producers are numerous at Texas. Don't executive producers have more powers like employment, budget, even scripts? So making Lively an EP is kind of blanketing yourself. No, I think EPs are actually what they just give actors so they can write it on their resume, and then they do crap all. I wish Brosnan made more instead of casting Daniel Craig after Die Another Day. Yeah, I like Brosnan as well. Yeah, they could have taken a stand, but again, she's probably grabbing them by the cojones. Even if Lively had the contractual authority to approve her character's wardrobe, which she did not, a grant of such authority would not and could not imply the rights to blow up the film's budget with additional unanticipated cost in an effort to maintain harmony at the start of their working relationship and to avoid further delays caused by wardrobe conflicts. Baldoni and the studio I just died. Baldoni and the studio reluctantly allowed Lively full control over her wardrobe. This concession quickly proved regrettable. On the first day of principal photography, paparazzi captured and published photos of Lively in character wearing her self-selected wardrobe. These images were described as unflattering and sparked a backlash from the film's distributor, Sony. Baldoni received direct criticism from Sony, who voiced concerns about the impact of the photos on the film's public perception. Following these events, Baldoni approached Lively in her trailer to discuss necessary wardrobe adjustments. The conversation, while professional, took considerable time and was later grossly misrepresented in Lively's CRD complaint, falsely characterized the exchange as a lengthy outburst that delayed filming and caused the crew to wait for hours while Baldoni cried in Lively's dressing room. CRD complained. Nothing to that. This account, later published by The Times, is false. Although Baldoni did briefly tear up during the conversation, it was in response to what he believed was a genuine compliment from Lively praising his work as a director and actor. In hindsight, Baldoni recognized this as a manipulation tactic, likely intended to persuade him to continue allowing her unchecked control over wardrobe decisions. Lively later leveraged this conversation in support of her allegations of harassment, alleging that Baldoni made inappropriate comments on her appearance. In reality, Baldoni was relaying the distributor's concerns and the widespread social media criticism regarding the wardrobe's failure to meet audience expectations, a sentiment Baldoni shared. This incident marked the beginning of a troubling pattern of manipulative behavior by Lively. Lively begins rewriting the script. During a red carpet interview in the New York City celebrity premiere of the film, Lively stated, "The iconic rooftop scene, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that but you now." This revelation came as a surprise to the film's credited screenwriter, who, when later interviewed, graciously responded, "So if I'm being told that Ryan wrote that, then great. How wonderful." The screenwriter further acknowledged, "There were a few little flourishes that I did not write, and if those flourishes came from Ryan, I think that's wonderful." See Benjamin Van Hoos and Julian Moore. Blake Lively says nobody knows Ryan Reynolds wrote A Scene in the Ends with Us. A screenwriter weighs in. This was also the first time plaintiffs learned that Reynolds, who had no formal role in the film's production, made unauthorized changes to the script in secret. Furthermore, Lively herself began altering the script daily. The frequency of Lively's revisions alarmed the producers, directors, and studio, who anticipated that her interference would persist every day of the shoot and disrupt the production schedule. Each shooting day was already intricately planned, and her constant changes introduced significant stress on the production crew and financial strain. However, just weeks prior, Lively's husband Ryan Reynolds had aggressively berated Baldoni during a meeting at their penthouse in New York, accusing him of fat shaming Lively. Baldoni, in an effort to avoid further confrontation with Lively and Reynolds and rebuild rapport with his co-star, continued to bend to her will. Reynolds and Lively inappropriately and humiliating berating of Baldoni, delivered perhaps intentionally, as other celebrity friends were coming in and out of their penthouse, was prompted by Baldoni's reasonably inquiry into crucial information needed to ensure safety and avoid injury in a scene. Baldoni, while training for a physically demanding scene in which his character Ryle would lift Lily, asked his trainer, who was introduced to him by Lively and oversaw his training for the film, how much Lively weighed. Baldoni, who suffers from back issues and has multiple bulging discs, made the inquiry to ensure he could safely perform the lift without injuries. Unfortunately, the trainer relayed this information to Lively, who then informed Reynolds. The confrontation that follows was so aggressive that Baldoni felt compelled to offer repeated apologies, despite his question being entirely reasonable and made in good faith. Following this incident, Lively refused to perform the lift scene, even though it had already been rehearsed with a stunt double. In fact, Lively threatened to quit the production altogether despite her contractual obligation. Lively gave Baldoni an ultimatum to either cast someone else or work with her in the way she works. It was her way or the highway. Recasting would be detrimental to production, severe Wayfair's relationship with Sony, sever, and cost millions. To highlight the effects of masterful gaslighting, Baldoni and Wayfair also truly believed that in an effort to save herself from the backlash of being recast, Lively could leak that she felt fat shamed by Baldoni, which he thought would ruin his career. Notably, it appears he was not wrong. And despite his effort to do everything her way, she still tried, continues to try, and arguably did, with the help of the Times, ruin his career, reputation, and well-being. Beyond the script revisions, Lively extended her influence over the film to other areas, frequently challenging decisions and asserting control. She not only rewrote her own dialogue, but also made unilateral change to other characters' lines, effectively altering the script on a broad scale. This pattern of interference continued to disrupt the production process, often causing stress, chaos, and delays. Over the months leading up to the film's release, Lively and her collaborators consistently scrutinized interactions with Baldoni and employed tactics to fall squarely within the definition of gaslighting. This behavior pressured Sony, Baldoni, and Wayfair into ceding control to Lively at every turn, resulting in her domination of nearly every aspect of the film's production. If this is true, she seems like quite a diva. What do you get when you pickle a deer? Dill, dough. Thank you, Puddle Town. When you're missing Zach, you know the jokes are bad. Lively sets the stage for coercion by drafting a protection letter that intentionally misrepresents the nature of the conversations had between Baldoni and or Heath and Lively. Demands Wayfair parties sign for Lively to return to work after the industry strikes. Principal photography began on May 15, 2024. From mid-June to early November 23, that's a mistake. It was 2023, not 24. Production was suspended due to the industry's guild strike. When the strikes ended on November 23, production was eager to resume filming and make up for the lost time. That same day, however, Wayfair received an unsettling and unexpected email from Lively through her counsel, containing a 17-point list of non-negotiable conditions that must be met before Lively would return to work. Through Wayfair disagree as to the basis of requesting these conditions, which insinuated those demands were the results of inappropriate behavior by Baldoni and Heath. The terms were agreeable and some were already in place. For example, Lively demanded that an intimacy coordinator be present at all times when Lively was on set. In fact, an intimacy coordinator had already been engaged during the first half of production, so Wayfair took no issue with this request. Contrary to Lively's assertion, it was she who refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator to plan out scenes, putting Baldoni in the awkward position of meeting with the intimacy coordinator alone and later relaying smeck scene suggestions to Lively in the intimacy coordinator's absence, not only defeating the purpose but resulting in accusation by the Times that before shooting began, Baldoni wanted to add smeck scenes that Lively considered gratuitous. In fact, these scenes were proposed by the intimacy coordinator. This is well documented in handwritten notes Baldoni took during meetings with the intimacy coordinator. This is the one we saw before about not meeting with her before shooting start. Baldoni stated handwritten notes from his meeting with the intimacy coordinator, which again Lively declined attending, were read to Lively at her penthouse, where she insisted she and Baldoni met to write smeck scenes together. As it was, the smeck scene were not written, and it was always Baldoni's intention for them to be written with input from both the intimacy coordinator and Lively. The female gaze that Lively distorts in her CRD complaint, which the Times then publishes. In response to a proposal from the intimacy coordinator that Ryle not orgasm after he satisfies Lily, Lively remarked, "I'd be mortified if that happened to me." To which Baldoni, following Lively's lead in what seemed like an attempt to connect and develop their characters, remarked that those have been some of the most beautiful moments with my wife and I. Lively again distorts this both in protection for return to production. She made Wayfair, Heath, and Baldoni sign and in the CRD complaint, which the Times publishes as fact without any investigation whatsoever. First, this suggestion did not originate with Baldoni and likely knew this. Second, it was Lively who first personalized the scene. And third, and perhaps most importantly, they were writing scenes for their character. Again, it's weird. Bringing personal things into it. I don't know. I just don't like it. But again, if he can prove this, she seems like quite the diva. Lively claims that Baldoni made her feel unsafe when he used the word smexy while discussing a wardrobe adjustment, when in fact Lively herself has previously indicated both verbally and text messages shown below that she wanted her character's wardrobe to be smexier. For a scene in which all the characters were onesies, Lively opted to wear a large coat over hers, obscuring the outfit. Baldoni, as the film's director, suggested she remove the coat, explaining that the look would be smexier without it. Lively took offense to the comment and appeared upset, interpreting it negatively rather than as creative direction. Feeling he had upset her, Baldoni apologized despite having made a professional suggestion as director. Notably, in a separate text exchange, Lively herself used the word smexy to describe one of her character's outfits while advocating for her own wardrobe choices, an inconsistency that undermines the basic of her complaint. And this is the one we saw with the shoulder shot. Lively establishes what language is acceptable to her and what is not, and at the very outset of the relationship, just 2 days into filming. To use this language herself, then in turn make a note of each instance where her director used the same language, also to describe wardrobe and character, is at best a double standard. To generate a list of demands that insinuate he and his business partner acted inappropriately and refused to work unless they agreed not to do it again is calculating and even extortionistic. But to then use Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath's agreement to not do something they already did not do, were not doing, and had no intention of doing as the basis to file a non-public CRD complaint against them and release it to the public herself in order to ruin their reputation is defamation. The Times were directly complicit in this. Lively also established very early that it was acceptable to be present while Lively was breastfeeding. Both Heath and Baldoni have kids and are comfortable around breastfeeding mothers, and Lively seem equally comfortable. In fact, Baldoni's wife co-founded a company that makes a breastfeeding garment, a prototype that originated with his mother when he was a baby, and as revealed in a text message exchange between Baldoni and Lively less than 2 weeks into filming, Lively invited Baldoni to her trailer to rehearse lines while she was pumping breast milk. Lively now alleges in the CRD complaint that Baldoni and or Heath would enter her makeup trailer of their own volition while she was breastfeeding. Notably, breastfeeding was an activity she often conducted openly in the presence of both Baldoni and Heath, including during production meetings. Just a simple thing, pumping and feeding is two different things. And we read this one before. In the CRD complaint published in part by The Times, Lively suggests Heath walked in her trailer unannounced while in the state of undress and topless, which is false. Heath was invited into a trailer along with a female producer, Baldoni, and a Sony representative for a meeting requested by Lively. Mr. Heath arrived first to see if Lively was ready for the meeting, and after knocking and being invited in, saw that Lively was breastfeeding. She was not topless. She was having makeup removed from her collarbone while fully clothed. Heath asked if they should return at a later time. Lively said no, they could move forward with the meeting as initially planned and would meet them after she's finished removing makeup. Roughly 2 weeks later, Lively announced that she thought she had seen Heath make eye contact with her. Heath immediately apologized and said he hadn't even realized he looked her way, in response to which Lively remarked, "I know you weren't trying to cop a look." A reference to this incident conveniently showed up in a document months later, distorted like the others and out of context in a list that the Times later published as facts. By the time Wayfair received the protection for return to production document, Wayfair had invested millions of dollars, completed half the film with Lively as the lead, and incurred substantial cost in preparation to resume production immediately following the strikes. However, instead of returning to work as anticipated, they received Lively's list of demands. In the spirit of ensuring Lively felt comfortable on set, Wayfair promptly agreed to her terms, despite disagreeing with the insinuations underlying them. Neither Wayfair, Heath, or Baldoni had engaged in any of the behavior alluded to in the return to production document, nor did they plan to. They thought that it was the end of it and they were ready to move ahead and make a great film. It was agreed the filming would resume on January 5th. On the evening on January 4th, Baldoni, Heath, and producers Todd Black and Alex Sachs, a representative of Sony and the film's first AD, were invited to Lively and Reynolds' penthouse in New York City. They arrived eager to discuss plans for the next day's filming, prepared with their production materials. Instead, they were blindsided by Lively and Reynolds, who presented a list of grievances that were both unanticipated and troubling. Reynolds launched into a tirade berating Baldoni in what Baldoni later described as a traumatic encounter, stating he had never been spoken to like that in his life. Reynolds demanded an apology to Lively for actions that was mischaracterized and demonstrably false, see below. When Baldoni resisted apologizing for what he had not done, Reynolds became further enraged. Everyone, including the producer, Lively had asked production to engage, and a representative of Sony that was in attendance left that meeting in shock. The producer offered that in his 40-year career, he had never seen anyone speak to someone like that in a meeting. The Sony representative mentioned that she would often think of that meeting, and her one regret is that she didn't stop Reynolds' berating of Baldoni. On the very first page of her CRD complaint, Lively inaccurately claims that a list of 30 items were agreed upon during this meeting. This assertion is categorically false. The 30-point list is strategically positioned to appear as if it was a standalone written document. However, no such document were ever presented to Baldoni, the Wayfair team, or, to their knowledge, anyone else, whether during the meeting or any other time, and therefore could not have been agreed to. In reality, many of these items were encountered for the first time in the CRD complaint itself and included reference to highly disturbing events that never occurred. The repeated use of the phrase "no more" before each demand falsely suggests that these alleged incidents has previously been taken and needed to cease. This implication is not only misleading but entirely untrue. That's if they can prove this, yeah, then she's a big O. DBAG, is that a quasi acronym? What it mean? Um, it means delicious bag. It's a bag you get at the baker's when you get your Danishes. That's a D bag, a delicious Danish bag. Yeah, there's allegedly there's some power play to get the rights for number 2. The second bill is a sequel. A lot of people in another chat thought it was a prequel. I don't know it. Dave, this is a serious chat. Please, no offensive. Thank you. Making law simple for being a member for 2 months. I like that you get a membership chat. Not all are that privileged. I mean, if everyone else actually do agree on these events except Reynolds and Lively, it looks pretty bad for them. Exactly. We have seen a lot of Hollywood people doing a lot of stupid stuff, but again, Ryan Reynolds could just Fedorowski. Are Deadpool a Sony, or is it just a pure Marvel? Stuff like that. But if it's a Sony movie, he can just look at them and they will do whatever he says because he's going to make them a ton of money. We are fluffing snails now. What's Marissa doing? I shouldn't be reading stuff because Marissa is always in chat making. Deadpool is Marvel. Oh, yeah, but still, Marvel and Sony works together, and I could probably he doesn't have to push them far. Oh, Deadpool is Disney. Oh, by the way, Volstorm, do you think Diva would be an angel on Saturday? Have to reach out to her. Yeah, I don't think Sony would. They wouldn't give 2 Fs about Baldoni or Heath. I know the money man involved in the Wayfair product has money, but again, this movie it made a substantial. It's one of the biggest hits, earning wise. It made its budget 6 times back, so it's proven. It used to be Fox, yeah. Baldoni and Heath left the meeting deeply unsettled by the implications of Lively and Reynolds' behavior and the power dynamics at play. Faced with mounting pressure and weighing the financial implication of what shutting down a film halfway through production would mean, Wayfair made the difficult decision to resume production and finish the film despite fears that Lively was intentionally manipulating facts for her own gain. The stakes were extraordinarily high. Financiers had invested substantial resources. Hundreds of cast and crew members had endured months without work due to the strikes, and nearly 5 years of development has gone into bringing the film to life. Filming resumed without further grievances or reference to prior dispute from Lively, a fact that Lively concedes in her CRD complaint. The parties agreed to implement and follow the protection for return to production and to ensure that the film could be completed, marketed, and released safely and successful, and it was. Production of the film resumed on January 5th and was concluded February 9th. The film had been a resounding success. CCRP, yeah, we've seen that. However, the lasting effect of Lively's allegation left Baldoni uneasy. He and Wayfair continued to make considerable concessions throughout the production, all in the interest of successfully delivering an outstanding film. Lively takes over editing, fires the film's editor and composer, and creates her own version of the film at Wayfarer's expense, while the rightful director continues to edit his cut of the film. The Directors Guild of America mandates a 10-week protected period during which the director of a feature film is entitled to privately edit the film and assemble their director's cut. This period is considered sacred, providing the director with uninterrupted time to creatively shape the final product, an opportunity to experiment, take risk, and refine until the film fully reflects their artistic vision. For Baldoni, this period represents the pinnacle of the filmmaking process, a time to immerse himself in the creative craft, free from external influences. Unfortunately, he was denied this essential experience. Lively requested to join Baldoni at the editing bay. As a seasoned professional with over 20 years of experience in the entertainment industry and having grown up in a family deeply involved in the field, Lively was fully aware of the implications of her request. In fact, her request explicitly acknowledged that it infringed upon Baldoni's protected period. Nonetheless, in the aftermath of this seriously false allegation she had leveled against the production, Baldoni, Wayfarer, and Sony reluctantly agreed to grant her access to the editing bay for 2 days, notably despite her allegations that Baldoni made her uncomfortable. Lively sought to spend prolonged close time with him in the confined and collaborative space of the editing bay. What began as a 2-day collaboration extended into 10 days, during which Lively sought to work alone in the editing bay without Baldoni. Despite Baldoni incorporating 7 pages of her notes into his own edit at the very onset and consistently keeping her involved in every subsequent edit, Lively expressed dissatisfaction with mere collaboration, asserting that she too deserved the opportunity to see her creative vision realized. She requested exclusive time with the editors. In response, Wayfarer flew Baldoni's editor to New York to assist Lively in the process. Eventually, Lively fired the film's editors, replacing them with her own choice, specifically and an editor often used by Reynolds. She also fired the film's award-winning composer, replacing him with a composer from Reynolds' recent project. Against repeated objections, Lively created her own cut of the film at Sony's expenses. Sony later informed Wayfarer that Lively would not promote the film unless her demands were met. How is that possible? That she can just fire editors and composers? They're not hired by her. They are hired by Wayfarer, and if they are fired without grounds, they can sue Wayfarer or Sony for breach of contract. That's wouldn't someone have to sign off of it? I don't. Yeah, but she wasn't. She was put on as an executive producer. You know, that's a fluff title, and then she was made a producer. But she's not hiring people, or else they have given her way more power than they alluded to. Yes, she was one of the producers, but again, she was not the money behind the film. I don't know. I'm just. It seems again, she seems like quite the diva in this lawsuit. And again, this lawsuit is against New York Times, but the last half hour I have read nothing but Blake Lively. Then sue her. Again, this is the high school stuff with oh, did you hear that they're suing each other through other people? Yeah, producers are not the money, the studio is. Yeah, that's why. How can she just no, but still, if she wants to terminate, let's say she wants to terminate the director, she can't just go in there and say you're fired. She would have to go to Wayfarer or Sony, who has the contract with him, and say, I don't want to work with him, fire him, or I'll be gone. Someone has to sign off on it. Don't ask questions. Yeah, she's probably pressuring other people to do it. I think after her sexual harassment complaints, they tried to just give her what she wants to make her happy. She might have planned it. Yes, that's the thing. Um, Again, her complaint made him look like a smacks pest. His complaint makes her look like the worst diva in the market, and Ryan Reynolds as a bully. Uh, I would like to see this go to court so we can have proof for this. Thank you, Wallstorm, for reaching out to Diva's representation. I think that's probably more likely that if they're hired by Sony, again, she can put Reynolds. I don't know if Reynolds has anything going with Sony, but Reynolds is a power card right now. He is the big man in Hollywood right now. He gets what he wants. And if he comes in and said, my wife wants Joe Smith gone, Joe Smith is gone faster than you can spell Baker. The 3 crowns are gone. We will put you all under 1 crown again. Yeah. Yeah, there's probably some union work as well. It's I don't know. Orion's is currently making a film. Yeah. That's you can say what you want about all of these divas in Hollywood and all of the money men, but and we're not talking about the dictionary diva, but this is such BS. They should grow up and try to go out and have a real job. I have a hard time feeling sorry for any of them. They all grow some bolos and stand up for yourself, and then take the hit if you need to take a hit. Believing that Lively's edits would simply supplement Baldoni's work, and I'm talking about both sides. If she didn't want them in her trailer, tell them get the F out. Don't wait till after a strike. And if he can't listen to Ryan Reynolds, show him your greeting card and then leave. Both sides should really grow up and stop attacking each other through the court system. Baldoni continued refining his director's cut, however, faced with the possibility of Lively refusing to promote the film or approve any related marketing material, such as trailers, posters, and social media posts, a scenario that would have catastrophic implications. Wayfair and Baldoni felt compelled to acquiesce. This included funding a friends and family screening of a version of the film they had not approved or even seen, entirely at Lively's insistence. Having already invested millions of dollars along with years of time, energy, and personal sacrifice, Wayfair and Baldoni were left with no viable alternatives. Wayfair and Sony found themselves in an unprecedented and uncomfortable predicament. 2 competing versions of the film created by 2 different individuals, one of whom had no contractual or creative right to edit the film, let alone produce their own cut. Faced with Lively's threat to withhold promotion of the film, the studio reluctantly agreed to do an official audience test of both versions, Lively's cut and Baldoni's director's cut, once again at Wayfair Sony's expense. This is done at almost every movie. This decision was made with the understanding that Lively had agreed with Sony that if Baldoni's director's cut tested higher, she would drop the matter and fully cooperate, and Baldoni could proceed finishing the film without Lively's editorial interference. Unsurprisingly, despite Baldoni's cut scoring significantly higher with audiences and the film's targeted demographic, Lively reneged on her promise. She insisted that her cut be the version released to the public. That's not a good thing. Even going so far as to claim that the author of the book would also refuse to promote the film if Lively's version was not chosen. Under immense pressure, Sony and Wayfair once again conceded. Lively demands a producer credit and an undeserved PGA mark. Under the continued threat, that in spite of her contractual obligations, Lively would not promote the film or approve marketing materials. Wayfair agreed at Sony's behest to give Lively a producer credit, but her commands did not stop there. Lively later sought the coveted PGA mark on her producer credit, a certified designation licensed by the Producers Guild of America to identify producers who had performed the majority of the producing functions of a motion picture. Neither Baldoni nor Wayfair felt Lively fulfilled the requisite criteria to earn this mark. Lively demanded that Baldoni, Heath, and other producers and department heads send letters to PGA in support of her certification for the PGA mark. Despite unanimous recognition of the absurdity and the unsettling nature of what appeared to be an attempt at coercion, Sony and other parties ultimately acquiesced and submitted letters of support. However, because Lively did not perform the duties of a producer and therefore, in a professional opinion of the studios, did not qualify for the PGA mark, a distinction highly valued and taken seriously within the industry, Wayfair and Baldoni refused to misrepresent her contributions to the film, despite having conceded on nearly every other demand to this point that it believed it unjust and unethically to falsely represent to the PGA that she had fulfilled the requisite producing responsibilities. Lively in turn instructed Sony to tell Wayfair and Baldoni that any goodwill left between us is done. Eventually, in the face of persistent threats leveled against Wayfair and Baldoni, they were left with little choice but to draft and sign a letter on Lively's behalf. Upon doing so, Heath provided a copy of the letter to Wayfair's lawyers, accompanied by a statement indicating that they signed the letter under duress. We read that before. Lively proceeded to make good on her threats. Lively's successfully bullying tactics resulted in Baldoni's exile from his own film. Consistent with her pattern of vindictiveness, as the premiere of the film approached, Lively instructed Sony that she and the cast would not participate in any marketing or promotion of the film alongside Baldoni. She made certain that Baldoni was removed from all artwork for the film, posters included, and stripped him of his A Film By credit. Furthermore, Lively and Reynolds unfollowed him on social media, as did the author of the book, someone with whom Baldoni had maintained a 5-year personal relationship and for whom Baldoni created this opportunity, and other cast members, creating the false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. It became clear that Lively was working diligently to contrive a narrative that would explain why she took over the film and exiled Baldoni. Baldoni had no intention of ever making this information public, ever. He promoted the film as originally intended, gave Lively full credit and praise, and wanted the film to succeed. He wanted to move on. Lively, however, refused to let it go. Baldoni later received word that during the premiere of his movie Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds approached Baldoni's agent at William Morris Endeavor and demanded that his agent drop Baldoni. The wielding of power and influence became undeniable. Baldoni and Wayfarer grew increasingly fearful of what Lively and Reynolds were capable of, as their actions seemed aimed to destroying Baldoni's career and personal life. Lively systematically excluded Baldoni from all marketing and promotional efforts with her and the cast for the film. He was not invited to any cast promotional events, cast screenings, premieres, photo shoots, and other cast campaigns. Baldoni was marginalized from the marketing process and left in the dark about the purported marketing plan, allegedly created by Lively and Sony, which was later referenced in Lively's CRD complaint as agreed to by all. While in Sweden, that's the problem. Now I can't like this guy at all. He's in Sweden. While in Sweden celebrating his wife's birthday, Baldoni was informed that Lively demanded he not attend the film's premiere on August 9th. Lively further threatened that if Baldoni attended, she and the majority of the cast would boycott. It remained unclear what Lively had communicated to or promised the cast, but they now also refused to attend if Baldoni was present. The fact that Sony advised Wayfarer to concede underscores Lively and Reynolds' immense power and influence. Have you ever looked out your window and seen a longboat and went, oh no, they're coming for my wife and daughters? Then they raise the rainbow flag and reality sinks in before they do. Terrifying. Well, at least your wife and daughters will be safe. Thank you, Brandon. Wanting a reward while not wanting to earn it. Sounds about right. Yeah. Paul Snail's been held against their will be enforced. I don't know. They fire, I'm pretty sure that the contracts were paid out. I think it's such crap that because Lively, all of that happened, I just want to see more evidence of her claims because I'm just not seeing it yet. I want to know how she got the rest of the crew to walk out because one thing is her being an a-hole, but someone stated that the author is supporting her, and it seems like the cast on the movie as well. So I would like more people to come forward because so far this is just she's a mean girl, he's an a-hole. That's what I got so far. I don't think anyone doesn't come out of this smelling a little bit like poop, but these are just claims against each other. We saw some text messages from both sides, which could have been everything. We don't know what it was. It could have been anything. That's what I mean. I want to see those handwritten notes. I want to see the text messages where she said, "Hey, it's fine. Come in while I'm half naked." I want to see all of these because the intimacy coordinator, she said she didn't want to talk to them before they started filming, and he claims she didn't want to talk to him at all. Again, there's a lot of things I can't see in here. Yeah, and both of them's behavior is reprehensible if true. If she muscled him out of his own movie project, that's bad. If he was a Smex pest, that's bad. I still haven't seen any response to that part where allegedly his buddy got a role where he was sitting right next to La Latas de Tuna, because that was one of the things I thought was weird. And that pregnancy video thing is also weird. A knock on my door, a snail. I threw him over the roof. A year later, another knock. Same snail. He said, "What you do that for?" You used that joke yesterday, but it's still good. Jamie didn't get it. Yeah, all of them. That's what I'm saying. I want to hear. I want to hear from the author. I want to hear from the rest of the crew. I want to hear from the intimacy coordinator if it's true that she didn't want to talk to them, and he was she was told that he had to relay the SMEC scenes to her. I want to hear from the personal trainer if he was asking about her weight to make him lose weight, or if it was just because he was concerned about his bad back. All of this is he said, she said crap. All of this taking a stand right now and saying, well, she's the worst person in the world, he's the worst person in the world. You can't do that. You can say, well, we don't like Blake Lively because she said something in the past. She promoted I've seen one of the things. Well, she promoted her stuff while not promoting the DV, but we have that strategy plan that says don't focus on the DV. So again, either it's A, either it's B, or maybe it's a mash of A and B. I think it's somewhere It's in here. It's not. No sides are correct in this one. Yeah, and him pulling out the card that he's always been fighting for DV is it's the same. She can throw the, oh, he's a misogynist, and he can throw the, oh, I'm such an ally card. Everyone in Hollywood is creeps. No, she didn't invite him in while breastfeeding, because in it she says, I am just breastfeeding. And he said, I'm eating with the crew. No, I'm pumping. I'm eating with the crew. I'll call you later. She didn't say, come over right here, right now, while I'm pumping. She said, I'm just in my trailer pumping. And again, pumping is something you can stop. You can take, he can do the, and she can say 2 seconds, cover up, and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that because you didn't see any other text or any other claims. Well, you did see other claims that she was constantly breastfeeding in front of everyone. But sitting there with the going on, you can turn that off and then say, oh, did you buy those for me? Yes, my dear, I did buy those for you. They remind me of your eyes. Ah, you're such a nice husband. You don't call me nice, I'll slap you around. And then you can work on your lines, and you can go back to after. Again, I don't have enough here to say who, if any, is correct. But 30 pages left. Baldoni and Wayfair refused to succumb to the bullying tactics aimed at preventing them from attending the premiere of their film, a project they had financed, produced, and owned. This threat marked the culmination of year-long campaigns of intimidation and harassment. Although objectively egregious and shocking, the Wayfair team had unfortunately grown accustomed to their bullying, fully aware of the immense power this couple wielded and a far-reaching extent of their influence. However, they refused to concede to their demand. Just days before the film's premiere, Baldoni was still unsure if he would even be allowed to attend. His friends and family, and many traveling from outside of New York, were left in limbo, unable to finalize travel plans or book flights. Finally, through Sony, Wayfair persuaded Lively to permit Baldoni and the Wayfair team, along with their friends and family, to attend, though only under demeaning and humiliating conditions. They were relegated to a separate theater to view the film, required to arrive at a different time than the rest of the cast, and instructed to leave the venue immediately after Lively arrived. Baldoni was also excluded from the official celebrity after party, despite it being an event paid for by Wayfarer. As a result, Baldoni had to quickly organize and personally fund a separate after party for himself and the Wayfair team, forcing the company to cover the cost for two events, one for Lively and one for their own friends, family, crew, and team. Upon arrival, Baldoni began participating in red carpet photos and interviews. However, his efforts were abruptly cut short when it was conveyed that Lively was on her way, and he was instructed to stop immediately. He and his family were quickly ushered away. Security personnel, acting as though there was a risk of escape, escorted Baldoni's group to the basement of the building. There, they were confined to a makeshift area surrounded by concession stand stock with only fold-out tables and chairs arranged in a square, surrounded by close friends, family, soda bottles, and a lot of love. Don't put that in a legal. The irony of being held in a basement on what was arguably one of the most important nights of Baldoni's career thus far was not lost on anyone. Once the main theater was deemed clear of Lively and her guests, Baldoni and his group were ushered into a separate theater to view the film. At the conclusion of the screening, they were again quickly escorted by security out of the building to avoid even a chance of interaction with Lively and her guests. The Wayfarer after party, held separately from the celebrity event, was a dry gathering, reflecting the values and themes that Wayfarer stands for. It was attended by the entire Wayfarer team from Los Angeles and their friends and family. The atmosphere and tone of the Wayfarer after party were aligned with Baldoni's vision for the film, focusing on celebration and gratitude. In the meantime, Baldoni was sidelined as Lively and Sony pressed forward with its original promotional strategy for the film. This plan, outlined in his initial proposal to Sony years prior, shared with Lively and communicated numerous times with both Sony and Lively, centered on a partnership with the organization No More, founded in 2013. No More is a global initiative aimed at raising awareness, inspire action, and sparking conversation to end DV and sexual assault. Baldoni's collaboration with the organization began in 22 and held deep personal significance. Staying true to his purpose for undertaking the film, Baldoni prioritized amplifying the voices of survivors of DV. His efforts reflected the heart of the film's story and its profound impact on audiences. He returned to the core reason for embarking on the project in the first place. His initial outreach to the author of It Ends With Us 5 years earlier, focusing on the film's message and its potential to create positive change. Baldoni poured himself into ensuring its success despite the mounting challenges. These genuine efforts aimed at amplifying the voices of survivors impacted by the film was later mischaracterized and weaponized against Baldoni. The Times, failing to do its due diligence before publishing the article, described these genuine efforts to bring attention to a serious issue as part of a calculated campaign to destroy Lively's reputation, and in doing so, participated in destroying plaintiffs' lives. Baldoni forced to hire crisis public relations to combat Lively's negative press push. In direct response to Lively's oppressive tactics, as described herein, Wayfair and Baldoni retained Nathan and Tag as a protective measure ahead of the film's premiere. Contrary to the Times portrayal, Tag's engagement focused exclusively on defensive strategy and fact verification. Though, as its standard industry practice, Tag prepared for a worst-case scenario based on Lively and Reynolds' prior behavior. No aggressive tactics, e.g. astroturfing, were ever employed. Tag maintained this defensive position throughout its engagement, verifying facts and correcting misinformation without retaliation, a strategy endorsed by Baldoni and Wayfair in an effort to reprioritize the film's significant social message. Meanwhile, Lively's publicist Sloan launched a negative press push against Baldoni. At least as early as August 24, Tag was made aware of Sloan planting an unfavorable, false, and defamatory story about Baldoni's Baha'i faith to page 6. Sloan proceeded to feed false stories to the Daily Mail and the New York Post containing allegations that Baldoni was a sexual predator. Sloan would also plant a false story alleging there were multiple HR complaints during the production. This, in addition to Sloan's weaponizing Baldoni and Wayfair hiring Tag and Nathan. Leslie Sloan. Yes, please, as thus info is all wrong. She didn't require script runs, nothing to do with this. She produced the film Snut, Gat a Cut. WTF going on. The whole cast doesn't like Justin, nothing do with Blake. Like I said, though, the reporting is that there was issues between... Oh, yeah, we read these ones as well. Bad writing, as always. I guess you and Melissa are in cahoots. Oh, I didn't read this one, did we? I promise you, she's lying. That was not good for your side. Can you give me anything? Yeah, we had that one. Did we read this one? Your story is mean. I guess you and Melissa are in cahoots. Hey, I reached out to you on Thursday via text to let you know that our reporter Lillian had sent some quotes and I was asked to write it, including what they were. I ended up calling out Friday so I could paint. So she ended up writing it, not putting blame on her, but the reason my name is also on the piece is because half of the reporting in it was mine, i.e. the following quotes below. And I do talk to Melissa, but she is in no way giving me any anti-Blake info. Blake's backlash is due to her own words and actions in interview. The only thing she told me is what she told you, and that this is all organic. These were my quotes used in the piece. Yeah, mean. Your quotes are kind and true. Tired of the bullying she hate. PP. I knew early on it was going to happen, which is that which is that first time I called you before movie came out and trying to prevent anti-Blake BS, and I did for a minute. It was getting so bad for him, he had to hire Melissa. But then after that one interview where she said her GPS cell phone thing, it's obvious she was kidding. But it just snowballed and kept going and going. It will all turn around. You know how to flip the script better than anyone. Please make it turn around. I know you are friends with Melissa. Yes, we are. They are liking City. Good for you. I know you're friends with Marissa. Yeah, we are. I'm not paid to take people down. I'm honest. She hasn't done anything literally anti-Blake. KK. She told me the same thing that she told you, which she said that Blake's backlash is organic. It's not. She did nothing but help get a movie make tons of money. Justin make tons. She was kind of off promoting it as it was Barbie. It's just based on the things that she said directly. Melissa definitely doesn't talk shit. She's like you, incredibly honest and fair. She told me what she did to steer Justin away from the drama, but nothing about Blake. Not fair. Was literally Siri Blake. Got it, but there are others at your paper and side. 15,000. Well, 15,000. Reporter, a source close to set says they don't know of an investigation, but there was an intervention. We had these one. In spite of Sloane's effort to lambast Baldoni and Nathan, it was Lively who ultimately stirred up her own public ridicule. Here's what's going on with the end of us. Blake Lively goes into damage control. Blake Lively fans blast. It ends with us. Actress over tone deaf and shallow interview. These are all the stuff that they have brought out. Indeed, while Baldoni sought to focus on the film's central premise, Lively incensed audience with seemingly flippant and tone-deaf remarks, encouraging viewers to grab your friends and wear your florals. Embarrassed by this self-induced backlash, Lively now seeks to vilify Baldoni in a dubious attempt to resuscitate, come on now, her public image. While the Times thrust allegations of an offensive smear campaign concocted by plaintiff, the incomplete and misleading evidence supplied by Lively and on which the Times purports to rely proffers a warped view of reality, setting aside the unscrupulous means by which the cited communications were obtained. The Times, as with Lively's CRD complaint, deliberately takes these communications out of context to bolster a fallacious narrative designed in concert with Lively to quash plaintiff. When viewed in full context, these hand-picked doctored communications lose their manufactured improprieties and disprove Lively's allegations. And these are the ones we saw before. The same again, the same again, same again. Focus on Reddit, TikTok, yeah. These are from her CRD. In the article, the Times write, Lively's filings include excerpts from thousands of pages of text messages and emails that she obtained through a subpoena. These and other documents were reviewed by the New York Times. However, the Times failed to review and or investigate the plethora of communications demonstrating that plaintiffs had zero intention of smearing Lively or every intention of simply promoting the film as a message. Good morning, team. So I was thinking about the response to this weekend, and I feel like what we should do is make sure to emphasize the voices of the survivors. It's going to be a lot of fuss, how much money the movie made, but I want to be the one that always direct the back to the survivors. So I would love to come up with some sort of video or carousel of messages from survivors and a response to the movie. Wayfair is a big studio now, propelled into a tier upwards. Protecting you and the brand is something you need to do. You want to see this headline. Harvey Weinstein publicist Leslie Sloan. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Do you believe, Leslie? Can you spin the crisis PR thing so it's actually factual? There have been lies put out. Up against powerful people, just protecting myself. Tag reps a lot of people. That headline was just to smear more. So, do we say Blake and Ryan hired Harvey Weinstein publicist? This is a BS thing again. Hey, tag team, I've been seeing some Instagram comments on random posts defending me by people who are private with no followers and they feel like bots. Can you please confirm we are not doing any of that? I really don't want bots defending me as it feeds into their potential narrative. I can fully confirm we do not have bots. This is not also what we do. Bots look fake to anyone. The other team is doing something very specific in terms of what they do. I know Jamie and Jet connected on this. Bots and fan accounts also run pretty organically by now with all the AI platforms and Google Analytics itself. There is no bot army that's a myth these days. Any digital team these days is far more intelligent to utilize something so obvious. Hmm. Okay, please monitor things. I'm more worried about that. We are planting those stories, which is not true, obviously. Chiming in here, the people saying that there are bots and this is a PR play on your side is a minority voice. We read that one. Good morning, sharing with you a perfect example of why we don't use bots. I wouldn't even worry to think they've hired a team as nothing to find. They hired an awful team, which have sent our guy to track and pull, so we have evidence. So we have that one. At least sprinkle them in. She needs to fire her bot team. How can we say somehow that we are not doing any of this? It looks like we're trying to take her down. It doesn't. They are doing all of this themselves, and it's really obvious. This is bots. There's no bots teams, but this is bots. Completely unsolicited story from TMC. Blake has a huge ego. Justin was liked by many cast and crew, and that's her ego being bruised, etc. The post has a similar tip, not from any of us, obviously. Totally not from us. These two ladies, I think they are smarter than they should be. They're too smart for their own good. These are clearly people on set coming out to defend JB, which is good, and we just let them do their thing. The reporter told me her rep is working overtime. This just ran. Obviously, none of us know about this either, but once media goes, they go in. That's a hey, Tammy Fayette. She has handed it all to them. Just concentrate on success of the movie. All of this is what we read before. That's the same we just read. This is an example of someone trolling Blake on all my posts, but doesn't seem like a real account. Yet it also could be an actual troll, as they exist too. But yes, 100%. But this is not anyone from your team whatsoever. Let's discuss this at some point. We need to be careful not to put out any stories that look placed. Definitely open to discussion as a group on different ideas, especially as to links into new projects to clear it all up. Definitely don't want to place stories and yet just wants to change the narrative. If you want to change the narrative, you are placing a story. I wish they would write that. I only said nice things about her and never spoke disparagingly of the cast, and so it's apparent the fraud only works one way. And would love to start to move towards the future of what's next. Not sure when the time would be right, but announcing that I'm directing Pac-Man. Oh, they're making a Pac-Man movie? Oh my crap. I think would be a good move sometime soon. Totally agree, and as I think you can see the majority of the press and social wise agrees with you as well. Worse still, there are documented communications overlooked by Lively and the Times that expressly refute Lively's erroneous accusations by way of example. And I'm just pumping in my we read this one. Through the Times admit that it has access to thousands of relevant text messages and emails. Its skewed reporting makes painfully obvious that it failed to substantiate the false accusations hurled by Lively. Indeed, the objective evidence refutes any allegations that plaintiffs engaged in a smear campaign to bury Lively and destroy her reputation. Lively's wounds were entirely self inflicted, that plaintiffs retained crisis public relations to defend against Lively's unrelenting assault does not change the fact. Stephanie Jones disclosed confidential communication. Curiously, neither Lively's CRD complaint nor the article make any mention of embattled publicist Stephanie Jones. Jones' former publicist to Wayfair now insists, as part of a separate lawsuit filed in New York, that she was swept on in plaintiff's so-called smear campaign, and yet on August 14th, Jones sent an email to Heath detailing her recommended strategy. Flood the zones with positives. We need to ensure that we promote positive narratives that media outlets cannot ignore. Currently, most stories are heavily biased towards Blake's perceptive, leaving Justin unrepresented. It's crucial that we fight for every inch of every story, which requires far more effort than typical crisis PR want to put forth. In our experience working with specialized crisis teams, prepare alternate stories. We should mobilize a robust network of supporters and third-party advocates ready to counter these narratives of deep background, as well as some on the record, making it clear that the claims being made are untrue and unfounded. Wayfair later terminated Jones for, among other things, having allegedly leaked information to the Daily Mail despite specific instructions from Wayfair not to go. Thank you so much, Brandon, for another crazy contribution. And of course, Brandon is so far mod of 2025. Valhalla cheated this year. Will he cheat next year? That's the big question. I'm not a bot. I'm your favorite mod for 2025. Remember, vote Brandon 2025. So Valhalla 2024 is ain't alive. Brandon 2025. So Valhalla 2024 ain't no more. Still working on the slogan. It's early. Just vote often. Mail-in voting has begun. But thank you so much, Brandon. That one had cyanide on it. Oh, I shouldn't start drinking beer. Then I can't read. I've been reading for a long time. Did Nick? Oh, thank you for the rate, Nick. I didn't see it because I was reading on the other screen. But thank you so much for rating. Sounds like he was at times awkward, inappropriate, and naive, while she was a controlling diva. Yeah, that's where I'm getting to right now. None of these seems like heroes. They seem like bad people. Brandon, I had a mouthful of milk that almost went all over my friend's toes when your comment popped in. Lamau. Oh, enjoy baby duties. But we're getting to it. Only 11 pages. And it's just baby talk. Jones is notorious for exacting her revenge on any client brave enough to escape her grasp. See Katie Warren and Jack Newsom, Who's Afraid of Stephanie Jones? From August 24. That's part of her lawsuit. Jones is equally notorious for her alleged maltreatment of current and former employees alike. Wayfair and Able are no exception. Funny how they had been with her for so many years, but yeah. It is hardly coincidence that all of the communication on which Lively and the Times now rely were purportedly produced by Jones's company, Jones Work, pursuant to a subpoena. Lively CRD complaint states that she obtained the communications set forth therein through legal process, including a civil subpoena. Lively's legal representatives have since doubled down. The subpoena disclosed and referenced in the complaint was served on Jones' work. The internal documents referred to in the complaint were produced subjected to this subpoena. We expect that further details regarding the subpoena process will be disclosed during discovery. The propriety of this alleged subpoena is unverified and at a minimum highly questionable, given Jones' involvement and the means by which Jones first obtained these confidential communications. So they are now claiming that the lawyers lied in the CRD complaint. Well, it's not an official piece of paper, so they can lie. I'm pretty sure lawyers don't like when the people say they lie. Abel, a former employee of Joneswork, was forced to relinquish her electronic devices when confronted by a Joneswork security guard and attorney upon her separation from the company, 6 weeks after she had put in notice and shared her plan to start her own business. Jones, on the heels of a damning Business Insider article and hemorrhaging clients, insisted that Abel turn over her electronic devices to allow Joneswork to delete all confidential and proprietary information therefrom. Though Jones initially agreed to release Abel's personal cell phone number, she reneged. 4 months later, Abel's text messages are now the subject of Lively's CRD complaint and the article. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that Jones invited the subject subpoena to circumvent her confidentiality obligations to Wayfair and inflict the most unethical form of revenge. Then you should sue her. The Time publishes a false and defamatory article based on Lively's administrative complaint. The New York Times is one of the most widely read newspapers in the United States and once upon a time served as a primary newspaper of record, publishing all the news that fits to print. The Times was considered a paragon of journalistic integrity and excellence, the gold standard for journalism in the United States, and a highly respected news outlet internationally. For generations, the paper's historical influence on the social, political, and cultural life of the country and its institutions could not be overstated. Americans long relied on the Time as a source of accurate and balanced news report. Blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry. This is BS. It's just, But over the last 20 years, Times reporters have ever more frequently veered spectacularly from their own journalistic guidelines. As a result, it has been commonplace to find New York Times stories containing egregious factual errors or infected with bias. Such lapses have contributed to public distrust of the Time and a landscape where partisan actors can cry fake news with some justifications. But the New York Times still wields a powerful and influential megaphone in the media and greater society. It is therefore under a solemn obligation to do the work necessary to get the reporting right. As reporters at the Times well know, getting it wrong can lead to disastrous outcomes for story subjects, including financial, professional, and reputational ruin. And New York Times sets the narrative and tone for other news organizations, amplifying the impact of its mistakes. The instant case is emblematic of the Times having lost its way, as the facts here make plain that the Times failed to follow its own journalistic standards, rushed to judgment, and with careless disregard published a story accusing plaintiffs of waging a smear campaign against Lively, causing a feeding frenzy based on a demonstrably false premise. At 9:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 20th, Truhay requested plaintiffs' response to the reporting regarding a crisis communications operation conducted on behalf of Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Wayfair Studios to protect the reputation and harm Blake Lively's, as described in a legal campaign filed today. Truhay, maybe, wrote in part, "We are seeking your response to the claims of retaliation through this PR campaign, and we would welcome the opportunity to talk with you on the record. Please offer any on-the-record comments as well as any other information you think we should know. Additionally, please notify us of any inaccuracies we need to hear back from you tomorrow by noon Eastern." At 2:16 a.m., plaintiff's legal representative responded as follows. "It is shameful that Ms. Lively and her representatives would make such serious and categorically false accusation against Mr. Baldoni, Wayfair Studio, and its representatives, as yet another desperate attempt to fix her negative reputation, which was garnered from her own remarks and actions during the film interviews and press activities that were observed publicly in real time and unedited, which allowed for the internet to generate their own views and opinions. These claims are completely false, outrageous, and intentionally salacious, with an intent to publicly hurt and rehash a narrative in the media. Wayfarer Studios made the decision to proactively hire a crisis management prior manager prior to the marketing campaign of the film to work alongside their own representative at Joneswork employed by Stephanie Jones due to the multiple demands and threats made by Miss Lively during production, which included her threatening to not showing up to set, threatening to not promote the film, ultimately leading to its demise during release if her demands were not met. It's also discovered that Miss Lively enlisted her own representative, Leslie Sloan, with Vision PR, who also represent Mr. Reynolds, to plant negative and completely fabricated and false stories with media, even prior to any marketing had commenced for the film, which was another reason why Wayfarer Studios made the decision to hire a crisis professional to commence internal scenario planning in the case they needed to address. The representatives of Wayfarer Studios still did nothing proactively nor retaliated, and only responded to incoming media inquiries to ensure balanced and factual reporting and monitored social activity. What is pointedly missing from the cherry-picked correspondence is the evidence that there were no proactive measures taken with media or otherwise, just internal scenario planning and private correspondence to strategize, which is standard operating procedure for public relations professionals. At 10:11 a.m. on December 21st, the Times published the article, notwithstanding that the Times were made aware of the egregious defamatory allegations contained therein. It proceeded with publication without further inquiry. Indeed, in its rush to publicize a one-sided, unsubstantiated story on behalf of Lively, the Time got it dramatically wrong. The aftershocks have been disastrous for plaintiff, and they now, reluctantly and knowing the damage cannot be fully undone, bring suit to hold the Times accountable for its egregious misfire. First cause of action, libel. Plaintiff incorporate blah 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 alleged herein. The article released. The article is libel on its face. The article false narrative. It's all the stuff we just read. What are they seeking? Plaintiffs are informed and believe and based on alleged that defendant and each of them depicted plaintiffs in a defamatory manner in conscious disregard of the plaintiff's legal rights. Plaintiffs are informed and believed and based thereon alleged that the defendants and each of them intended to injure plaintiffs by the defamatory statements in the article. Defendants' conducts warrants an award of punitive and exemplary damages against each of the defendants. Second course of action, false light invasion of privacy. It's the same again. And third course of action, promissory for a fraud. And it's the same again. They want money. And breach of implied in fact contract. Oh, because though there expressed written words, the defendant offers plaintiff until noon Eastern Standard Time the next morning to respond to the allegation, provided additional relevant information and accuracies. Plaintiff accepted defendant's offer, which created an implied in fact contract between the parties, whereby the Times could refrain from publication for a brief period, exchange for a substantive response to the allegations. Plaintiffs performed in accordance with the mutual understanding. Defendant breached the implied in fact contract by publishing the article at 10:11 in direct violation of the express representation. As a direct and proximate result of defendant's foregoing breach, plaintiffs were deprived of the benefits of the bargain in that they lost the opportunity to meaningfully assess and respond to the false, misleading, extremely inflammatory portrayal. As a direct and proximate hereof, plaintiffs suffered harm and amount to be proven at trial. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, the plaintiffs pray for judgment against defendant as follows: for general and special damages in an amount according to proof, for all statutory penalties authorized by law, for punitive and/or exemplary damages in an amount sufficient to punish defendants, for the wrongful conduct alleged herein and to deter such a conduct in the future, for liquidated damages, for the cost of suit incurred herein, for attorney fees as permitted by law and contract, for prejudgment interest, for such other release as the court may deem proper. Holy moly. Holy moly, that was a long list of nothing. I will be frolicking right after this as well. But this is going to be interesting to follow. Again, California have some of the hardest anti-slap laws. They are claiming that it's a breach of contract that they published the article at 10:11, but they had sent a response to the article. We just read it, and it didn't state underneath that if you will hold the article till noon, we will give you more information. It just said all of what was claimed isn't true. So I don't think that there's a breach of contract. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just thinking about it. These complaints should be limited to 1K word limit. All these words are just being regurgitated. If you can't say it in 1,000 words or less, you're grabbing at straws and hope something sticks. I agree, especially because most of it is just reiterating. We saw the same text messages used at least 2 times for all of them. And Krista, sometimes we must sacrifice brunch to stop the YouTube mechanic and his Rents army. Fight. And ironically, they have the most pimps. Yeah. Of course, he's off somewhere drinking Bud Light. It's o'clock, so he has to get out there. But is this the straw that breaks the camel's back for me? That makes me believe that she's clearly guilty and she did the smear campaign? No. Does this prove to me that he didn't use a smear campaign? No. There's a lawsuit against him. No, against Abel from the publicist that used to work with him. I think that's probably the best of them so far because she claims she was kept out of the crisis management with the negative story. If she gets a right to go and look for evidence in that could probably be the part that produces the most. But can I say a thing that might sound stupid? Grow up. You're grown people. You earn your money pretending to be someone else. Most of you are not that interesting in real life. Most of you are not that important in real life. Most of you would be forgotten in a year if you didn't use all your money to buy all the PR you're using. Maybe stop being a-holes. Stop pretending you're better than the rest of us. Because in reality, all of you, well, not all of you in Minecraft, allegedly, or whatever we have to say, but a whole ton of you are very small-minded people who got where you got because you looked a little bit better on screen than your neighbor. You're not going to change the world. Giving 1% of the proceeds to a DV organization because you really wanted to work with them. Yeah, you're lucky the movie made 344 million. So that company got 3.4 million. Probably a tax write-off as well. So your goodness, it comes with a little bit of kickback to yourself. You get to promote yourself that you wrote a check, kind of like someone else who pledged money to a children's hospital. I hope the charity has gotten way more than that because they can change the world. All of you fake people sitting there fighting for a cause because you believe so much in it. And then you go and do all of this BS. I don't care if Blake Lively took over a film set. I didn't watch it, and I'm never gonna watch it. I don't watch movies like that. You clearly wanted to make that movie because both of you saw the potential in hitting the DV market, because that's where people are right now. The feminism train has kind of run. Let's go and fight against DV, but you're fake people. I hope that deep down in your heart, you're really, really doing a lot to help all of these DV people. Maybe use some of your own money instead of the proceeds from a movie that you probably can write off as tax write off because of charity. But you're wasting the court's time. You're wasting everyone's time because, as small minded people, you can't have an argument and get over it. I don't care which of one of you is correct or who's not correct or who's right or who's wrong. This is worse than when my kids argued about who got to choose which doll first when they were kids. You are people who are being paid handsomely to pretend to be someone else. And you still can't put your egos aside. It's none of you is important. None of you are that great. None of you should ever sit there and cry like this. You are, I don't know, talented hacks. Next week, Karen Reed on Tuesday. There's just been a motion to exclude an expert witness from the defense. Hank is out there. Do we get Kool-Aid first? If we're jumping, I'm going across the street. They got 30 more. What? Yeah, most of you can't even act. That's the thing. They just look handsomely enough, and you're all vapid C words. Well, I want to talk about this and that. Yeah, and then you're going to jump in your private jet and tell me I can't eat a steak. Yeah, but I'm saving the planet. No, you're an a-hole who got rich by looking handsome enough. Someone wrote your words. You didn't even make them. At least have a little bit of talent. I don't think you could survive 600 feet. Haven't watched it. I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at Hollywood. Well, I'm just getting fed up with all these rich people telling me how to live and telling and having their petty little things running through courts. And I can go on the twits and see everyone is taking sides and saying, well, she's clearly a C word. You don't know her. Well, she said something about trans people in an interview. Yeah, that you probably misunderstood half the time and now you don't like him. Well, he's clearly a misogynist. You don't know him. Well, he clearly said something to Blake Lively about her weight. You don't know that. That's just a claim. I hate drama on YouTube. I hate drama in real life. I have enough drama in my own life. I don't need all of these idiots. At least make it something good. JD and AH, someone pooped a bed. That was entertainment. This is just, oh, my ego got brushed. Oh, I want to destroy someone else. Yeah, and the thing to promote that day was DV. Tomorrow it's the climate. The day after that it's cow farts. These people are empty. Who remembers doing the coof? Imagine there's no people. It's easy if you try. When all these idiots made videos and sang Imagine for us because I really needed Gal Gadot to sing Imagine for me while I was sitting here looking at my dad slowly dying because he couldn't go out, socialize with other people. If he had just heard Imagine by Gal Gadot, I'm pretty sure my dad would have done way better. Or maybe all of you stupid A-listers who think you save the world should go, well, we're bringing awareness. Then live by it. Al Gore, fucking turn off your light. Sell your private plane. Well, I have to travel around the world to raise awareness. Tell your politician buddies to stop buying houses in near the water because the water's rising. You told me that. Told me that in no, back when I was in school. Funny enough, Plymouth Rock is still visible. I hate all of these A-listers. No, I don't get any flashback from this. Is just two assholes fighting a PR battle against each other. Nothing like that we heard. Nothing like that we heard. The only thing that's like that we heard is people exactly know exactly what went on in a closed set. No, they don't, but they are out there fighting and can tell you everything about it. Both sides are out there. I've heard some things about her. No idea about this guy. I couldn't find out, but I don't care. Yeah, it's. I never get on your bad side. Well, I just get old and angry. Because all of it happened about the same time. No, I'm going to save the rest of the rant. I am doing tonight. Yeah. Someone drowned there. I'll vote for you. Happy New Year, Slitted. We have, right now, we have a foreign minister. He's a former PM who got elected to get the former PM thrown out of her office. And then he went in and made a government with her. He just had put into the our finance, we call it a law of finance, the budget for next year, that he can fly on privately chartered planes as much as he want. Normally, that's only the PM who can do that. No politics, no politics. We do that, but after night. Oh yeah, that's at least that was interesting. Yeah, just. I know you were busy reading, but there were two obvious PR people in here in the first half. Well, a view's a view. I hope they like what I said, or I hope they didn't like what I said. I'm going to write a lot of angry notes because engagement is king. What was the show Family Guy that had Al Gore dog whistle? Well, I didn't, but I know he did the Man Bear Pig in South Park. Well, I'm happy that people see my. Well, Chloe's knows Chloe's. So if you want a brief insight into these people, I know someone who was complaining on Christmas his plane couldn't take off from Cabo to from LA. Yeah, I feel so sorry for you. I'm sitting here looking at if we're gonna do this meetup thing in the US, I have to get on it right now because then I can swing for a little bit more pricey seat without having to pay out the ears. And there, well, my challengers couldn't light. It's like, dude, there was an earthquake. They have no power. Go home. Yeah, that's but they are too important. What do you do? Well, if you didn't know, I was in the #1 hit in the movie theaters last year. Yeah, I didn't go. I hate that one. Do you know who I am? I'm going to use that every time when I come back to the States. I'm going to say, do you know who I am? When they deny me beers at a place and they say, no. Say, I am one of the most viewed live streamers in Denmark. Is that in Sweden? And then I'll call Brandon for bail money because I will fight anyone calling me a Swede. Kids, countrymen, 3 hours and 30 minutes to read 87 pages of adult pretenders fighting. I'll do a Baker at night tonight. If you are up late, I'll plan if I get out of bed, because I haven't done it in a while. I'll have to get to bed early enough. I'll be streaming at 11 Eastern tonight, and an hour 30 minutes, whatever it happens to be. And hopefully you'll swing by. So I have to tell you about my ability to re-enter Sweden first. Never go there. You don't need a passport fight. I know in America, apparently IDs are a very big problem, because 13% of the population apparently can't get them, which 13% of the population says, we have ID. But I have an international recognized driver's license with my photo on it. If that's not enough, go F yourself. I don't need your beer. I have Valhalla's. We're working on it, but it's probably going to be first week of June. So it's going to be somewhere around that time. But I need to go eat some honey and rest my voice, because this has been a long read, as always, with these stupid lawsuits. Remember, 11 o'clock. I had a fake ID, it worked. 11 o'clock tonight, I will be doing my Baker at night. At 4 o'clock, I think it was, Jemima will be in chat with her. Well, they call it a crafting, but it's mostly just hanging around talking. Polish the wood, maybe later. I don't want to be caught drinking Bud Light, though. No, Valhalla knew I was coming, so he switched to Yingling, so he seemed a little more manly in my world. Everyone, go enjoy the rest of your day. Come back at 11 a.m. and I'll see you there. And adult pretenders, grow up.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.